He probably ran everybody out of the room. So we give praise, esteem, and honor to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. We're going to pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. And they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. And if another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe but receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accuse you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All esteem and praise to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Come on, Civic Job 16 and 19.
Also now behold, my witnesses in Shamayim, and my record is on high.
Hosea 12 and 10.
I have also spoken by the prophets. I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets.
Romans 16:25.
Now to him that is of power to establish you according to my gospel and the preaching of Yahushua HaMashiach, according to the revelation of the mystery which was kept secret since the world began, but now is made manifest, and by the scriptures of the prophets, according to the commandment of the everlasting Elohim, made known to all nations for the obedience of faith.
Revelation 19 and 10.
And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see you do it not. I am your fellow servant, and of your brethren that had a testimony of Yahushua. Worship Elohim, for the testimony of Yahushua is the rock of prophecy.
Indeed, indeed. So in power, man, what was the book that Monte chose? Dang, I can't remember. I have to. He'll tell me when I get on.
I think it was Jeremiah.
Yeah, Jeremiah 4. So let's pick it up at Jeremiah 4 and 1. I want to touch on some of this stuff that I told you because Buddy came back to battle Judah. That jump was hilarious. But he kept mentioning the stuff with the ephod. I do want to touch on because his argument about the dude I was telling y'all that said they appreciate you, my thing. That was I was telling you I was talking about David. Shalom, Sister Regina. David was a Levite. The argument with the ephod is something that I have heard before. So we'll take a look at that. But let's hit the Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 1.
If you will return, O Yasharal, saith Yahuwah, return unto me, and if you will put away your abominations out of my sight, then shall you not remove. You shall swear, Yahuwah live in truth and judgment.
Yeah, hold on. He said, if you return unto me and put away your what?
Your abominations.
You want what?
You shall not remove.
Go on and tell him what remove is by definition. My bad, bro. That coconut water be hydrating at a different level than water ever could imagine to do.
That is nude. That is to shake, waver, wander, move to and fro, flutter.
It won't be moved to and fro. Deuteronomy 32 and 1. He said, if you return unto him and put away all your abominable things, you won't be shaken, you won't be moved. Now, I just want to hit this Deuteronomy 32 and 1 for the statement that's going to be made before I hit this Matthew 7.
So give ear, O you Shamahims, and I will speak, and hear, O rats, the words of my mouth. My doctrine shall drop as the rain, my speech shall distill as the dew, as the small rain upon a tender herb, and as the showers upon the grass. As I will publish the name of Yahuwah.
You do what?
Publish the name of Yahuwah.
And what else?
Ascribe you greatness unto our Elohim.
And what else?
He is the rock.
He's the what?
He is the rock.
He's the what?
The rock.
Tell him what rock mean by definition.
That is sword. That is a rock, a cliff.
Now, you know rocks, he's going to say they would be immovable. He is the what? Shalom, brother. Shalom, brother Mark.
His work is perfect.
His work is what?
His work is perfect.
And his ways
are judgment. Elohim of truth, and without iniquity, just and right is he.
Without a what?
Without iniquity.
Now, this is the next step that we want to take with that. I want you to go to John 14:21 first, and then to Matthew 7 and 20. In fact, you could make it 19. It was funny because when I was talking to the dude about, because he had some sense, he came in here later earlier this evening, for him to understand, like, yeah, this is why I stopped talking to you. You know what I'm saying? And he conducted himself in a little better fashion. But this is what's funny, because he said he was an atheist, and then he became a Mason, and then he became a Christian. And then he stopped believing on the Lord in January. All of this since 2019. Now, the reason why I mention that is when you see somebody, and he say God led him into being a Mason and then being a Christian. I'm not saying that to mock him, man. I'm just for informational purposes. It shows, what's up, Dave, man? It shows how you can go from a particular thought, like when you go into that many different thought processes in a 4-year span, and they're that strong of a difference between the four. Because going from being an atheist to a Mason to a Christian in that short period of time is an extreme dichotomy of information. You know what I'm saying? I know some of y'all don't know that. You know what I'm saying? Like what type of information Masons learn, because obviously they're not going to tell you. And, you know, you got to move here and there to even find out what the type of time that people really own. Because they were messing with him saying you could be church hurt because how you coming so ardent and passionate against the Lord and mocking and all this here, and you just stopped believing on him 9 months ago. You know what I'm saying? So, and the reason why he said he stopped believing on him is he couldn't reconcile him being in the grave from Friday to Sunday. So I mentioned that because this is an individual who probably didn't even know the testimony for real. You know what I'm saying? And then he also believes that God is sending him to tell everybody that David is a Levite and that all the prophets are Levites. I just mention this because a lot of people feel like, you know, God is sending me to do X, Y, Z. He showed me this. He revealed. You hear this in all over the place. And this is the thing. I'm not here to tell nobody who Yahuwah revealed what to, because that's not my business. But what my business is whatever he revealed to you that you say he revealed, it would need to line up with the word. Because I'll get the verse in a moment. Because remember I told you, we read the Jeremiah 8 about the lying scribes. See, the one thing about it, right? You can have a conversation with somebody who, if you show a verse and he say, oh, it's been corrupted, and then he say, oh, that's been corrupted too, but the verses I'm pointing to ain't been corrupted, that's an individual. Man, God ain't saying that, bro. You know what I'm saying? And that's not something you have to jump up and down and scream. I'm only referencing this here because I've told you this before. We read that in Romans 16 where he say, mark them. Mark means to take heed to. Shalom, Brother Robert. Mark doesn't mean that you need to scream up and down, fuss, fight, and combat because this person got a false teaching or a bad teaching. Like, no, that's not what you don't have to do all of that. You know why? Because this man said, I've told you before. So if you profess that's why I tell you, you have to know the truth better than Satan know his lie. Because Satan don't take no days off. You know what I'm saying? So when you in the word, you got to make sure that you know the word. Again, you can't learn the word based off of somebody's experience with Yahuwah, because that experience with Yahuwah is an experience for them, and then for them to bear witness to that experience, so esteem and praise go to Yahuwah. That's not how you learn the word. You know what I'm saying? That's not how the word is taught. You can't teach me the word off your experience. That's not going to give me the understanding of the word. You know what I'm talking about? That's something different, because we were talking about that earlier, like, hey man, you know, y'all know that he say signs and wonders, those are not for people who believe, but for people who don't. So if you have a miracle, you say, shalom, Jay, a miracle that went on in your life, that don't do nothing for me if I'm already a believer. Shalom, Mika. That's just going to give esteem to Yahuwah. But see, prophecy, going through the word, and remember the testimony of Yahushua is a ruach of prophecy. So testifying of the Son, that is for the edification of the body. That's for believers. You know what I'm saying? You have to know the difference between the two. It's very, very important. Because if you don't know that, an individual can walk up and tell you anything, and you're going to go for it. You know what I'm talking about? That being lackadaisical, this, that, there, and the third, man. And guess what? Your children grow up, don't know they God, don't know the word, and a nigga tell them anything, and they're going to be Hotep Charlie out here. And it don't take much. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to tell you. Go ahead, sir.
John 14:21. Say, he that have my commandments and keep them, he it is that love me.
Shalom, my G.
And he that love me shall be loved of my Abba, and I will love him and will manifest myself.
And make our what?
Judah said unto him, not Iskri, our Lord, how is it that you will manifest yourself unto us and not unto the world? Yahushua answered and said unto him, if a man love me, he will keep my words.
He'll do what with my words?
Keep my words.
He gonna guard them.
And my Abba will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode with him.
Hey man, oh my man, I gotta tap in with you, man. A brother say it's a young blood up there in near Hershey, PA, man. Say he needs somebody to holler at. That's in Pennsylvania, man. So shoot, I'm gonna put my number on that, man. You gotta text my line so I can send it to him and he can tap you in with it, man. Shalom, Mother Strong. So, what did I just say?
That was John 14 and 20.
So yeah, keep on reading. Read verse 23. I'm sorry.
So Yahushua answered and said unto him, if a man love me, he will keep my words. My Abba will love him. We will come unto him and make our abode with him.
That's right.
He that love me, keep not my words. He that love me not, keep not my sayings. And the word which you hear is not mine.
Now focus on that part about keeping the word. We just read in Deuteronomy where he's the rock. So now go to Matthew 7 and 19.
Every tree that bring not forth good fruit is hewn down and
cast into the
fire.
That's right.
Wherefore by their fruits you shall know them.
That's right.
Not everyone that say unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the Malchut Shamaim, but he that do the will of my Abba, which is in Shamaim. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name? And in your name have cast out devils. In your name done many wonderful works. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you.
You workers.
Depart from me, you that work iniquity.
What else?
Therefore, whosoever hear these sayings of mine and do them.
And do what?
And do them.
What is going to happen?
I will liken him unto a wise man.
That did what?
Built his house upon a rock.
And?
The rain descended.
And?
The floods came.
And?
The winds blew.
And?
Beat upon that house, and it fell not.
It fell what?
It fell not.
Go ahead.
For it was founded upon a rock.
It was founded upon a what?
Upon a rock.
Go ahead.
And everyone that hear these sayings of mine and do them not.
What he likened him to?
Likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon the sand.
That's right.
The rain descended, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell. And great was the fall of it.
Now we reading that because in Jeremiah 4:1 he said, if you will return, O Yasharal, saith Yahuwah, return unto me and put away your abominations out of my sight, you will not remove. You will not totter. You will not fall. That's what that word remove means. Oh, for sure. That's wild, man. Hell no. He said his brother down. Omar said his brother down here right now. So listen, right? I mentioned that because he said if you don't hearken to his words, you'll get shaken, you'll get tossed, and you'll fall. Because remember, he said repent and believe the gospel and be you saved. See, a lot of people don't return. See, come back to Jeremiah 4 and tell them what return is. Let's make sure that shoe's been down,
man. That is shoe.
And that's to turn. So let's go. Jeremiah 4:2. He said, after you turn, after you heard the word, and you shall what?
You shall swear Yahuwah live.
So now listen what he said. After this, you're going to swear that Yahuwah live.
You go in judgment.
And what?
In truth and judgment.
And in what?
And in righteousness.
And those are three weightier matters of law now, aren't they? And the nation shall,
behoove themselves,
and in him
shall they esteem.
For thus saith Yahuwah,
to the men of Yehuda and Jerusalem,
do what?
Break up your fallow ground.
And so not what?
Among thorns.
We didn't talk about that. You know that sowing amongst the thorns, that's the seed that fall in amongst the thorns and choke off the word and they don't bear no fruit. So gut that telling you, don't sow that word amongst the cares and affairs of this life and the deceitfulness of riches, man. Don't do that to yourself. Shalom, my G. Don't do that to yourself, man. You know what I'm saying? But when you do that to yourself, look here, right? We talked about this a couple weeks ago when he said, you know, that the love of money is the root of all evil. And when you're not focusing on that part, he said, oh man of God, flee these things and follow after this. Because he said riches take a man through many hurtful lusts. I'm trying to tell you, man, before I was in the word, I knew that, bro. The more money you get, the more access it gives you. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't necessarily ready for the access that it can give you because a lot of stuff you think you wasn't into, but you was just broke. Slow Aaron, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, you a broke, my G. Like, for real, bro. They don't be realizing that, bro. You really just broke. You like a lot of things. You just ain't got no money. You know what I'm talking about? It's real easy to say, oh, I ain't worried about women like that because you ain't got no money. What I mean by that is when you have money, you have access, and then you realize, I like women a whole lot more than I thought I did. You know what I'm saying? I like to drink a whole lot more than I thought I did. I really did like expensive stuff. It's just I was poor and I couldn't buy it. You know what I'm saying? That's what he telling you. Get it for him, man. First Timothy 6 and 5. Because I done seen people do that. I ain't never get that amount, no real deal bread. But I ain't never capped because I knew stuff I wanted. I knew I wanted me a S600 Benz. You know what I'm saying? I knew I wanted me a Rolex. I know I like to stay fly. I already knew that. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I knew I wasn't going to do, I wasn't never going to be no trick. You know what I'm saying? Because that ain't in me. I don't care how much money I got. I ain't doing that. So, okay, I'm not going to be swayed. You know what I'm saying? But everybody ain't that strong, man. I'm trying to tell you, man. When you poor, man, it's real easy to say you ain't into stuff, but you ain't got no money. And that's why you say you got to be careful about that. You know what I'm saying? Don't chase after that. Because the reason being, if you get solidified in the things that's of God, if you get some money, then those things that might have been a temptation and a desire before, you're not going to have a desire for it. Because you would have already abated that and replaced it with the desire for God. Therefore, it's like, nah, baby, I ain't on that. You know what I'm saying? You might want to slide. Matter of fact, don't even worry about sliding. I'm going to slide. Not in them yams, baby. I know. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
To perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds is destitute of the truth.
Thinking.
Supposing that gain is godliness.
Again, I have to reiterate that just because if you think you getting some type of increase means that you godly, that man say you have a what type of mind?
Say, from such withdraw yourself. That is of men of corrupt mind.
A corrupt mind, and you perverse. You're crooked.
Say, from such withdraw yourself, but godliness with contentment is great gain.
Hey, that's a fact, Shia, man. The more money you got, I told y'all this, man. When I was 16 years old, Tightwad pulled it to the side with me, his nephew O'Hare, somebody else. I just know my nigga O'Hare was with me. But I remember he looked us in the face. He said, "Get your money, man. Get your money." He said, "Man, them hoes gonna come." He said, "But when they come, you got to make sure you pick the right one." You know what I'm saying? So he was already giving us a game, man. You don't chase after no women, man. Get you some money. And when you get you some money, the women gonna come to you. But now you got to have enough sense, enough wisdom, enough discernment, enough recognition to make sure that you put the right woman next to you. You know what I'm saying? Because when you got some money, they gonna come. You know what I'm saying? And that's how dudes get caught up. Because this is how dudes get caught up who got bread with scallywags and women who do them dirty. Because you never had women before. A lot of dudes weren't getting women before they got some money. So they've been fantasizing and daydreaming about these extremely beautiful women. Now they can get these women, but these women don't like them for real. They like them for the monetary benefit they can get from dealing with them. But he liked this woman. She gonna run him through the mud. You know what I'm saying? Because he don't know that, hey, that's not the right one. Because she look good. Whatever that look good is to him. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's large mammary glands, wide hips, an excessive posterior, an extremely gorgeous countenance. You know what I'm saying? Or all of them put together. He gonna give her everything he got. She don't care nothing about him. And that's what he means by, hey man, don't sow amongst the thorns, because that desire for that deceitfulness of riches, you want those riches to fulfill certain desires. See, a lot of people like to talk that talk. There's very few people who they want money for the purpose of, I want to leave something to an heir. I'm getting to that. See, that's a segue. I'm getting to something with an heir. That's why I slid that in there. You know what I'm talking about? Or something to know. Most people want money for the purpose of fulfilling some type of void, whatever that void may be. I ain't saying everybody, but a lot of people do. Some people want money just because they're greedy. Some people want money for motivation for poverty. I'm talking about like wanting some money. I ain't talking about, hey, we got to get some money because we were down bad and you don't want to be in a position to be down bad. Then you got some people, they were down bad. And the only thing they motivated by is the acquiring of money for the purposes of satiating greed. You know what I'm saying? There's many motivations. It's nuance, man. It's not a one size fit all. Come on, Steve.
Said, for we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us be there with content. But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts,
That man said you fall into many temptations, which means you get tried a lot. Then snares, that means you get caught in traps, and many hurtful desires. So when he's mentioned to you, don't sow among the thorns. And the Lord come back and tell you in the parable of the sower, the seed that fall amongst the thorns. Will the deceitfulness of riches and the cares and affairs of this life choke off the word so it won't bring forth no fruit? Man, that man telling you, man, he telling you what the play is. Those things don't compute with the word. So therefore, when you worry about riches, when you worry about this, when you trying to do this, you're not going to be able to swear you who will live in truth, judgment, and righteousness. Why? Because if it choke off the word, the seed, that it won't bring forth no fruit, you'll never have no peace. You'll never have no long suffering. You'll never be gentle. You'll never be good. You'll never have love. You'll never have faith. You'll never have joy. Or you may have one or two of them. Or like what Peter said, you won't be able to keep adding to your faith. So therefore, you're going to end up being barren, meaning you don't produce no fruit. And remember, we read this Wednesday, he desired a summer fruit. So when he come to this branch looking for this almond that's budded from this rod or from this branch, he ain't going to find none. And like that fig tree, he going to curse it because it ain't bring forth no fruit. What does that mean? That means you useless to me. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that you have to consider. Don't mean you can't do it. We didn't talk about this before. He said, if riches increase, don't set your heart on it. But he also told you labor not to be rich, cease from your own wisdom, because riches fly away. But then he also told you labor for the meat that don't perish. So what is the point that he's trying to give you? Proper perspective. Seek the kingdom of God first. It's just proper perspective. It don't mean that you can't do X, Y, Z. But if that's your number one concern, you ain't gonna never bring forth no fruit. Some people don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll take that as saying you telling people to be broke. Ain't nobody telling nobody to do nothing. You know what I'm talking about? But you do got to keep it a beam. See, people who tell you, oh, that you just want people to be broke are people who are caught up in those many temptations and hurtful lusts. Because everybody can't deal with them lusts, man. You know what I'm talking about? So it's look at, we talked about this before, boy. You call him your father in heaven, and he is. And just like a father, you know what your children can handle and what they can handle. I wouldn't want to set my child up for failure. I know he can't deal with them women like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going, you don't want to put him in a position where he's going to fail. This is what more people don't realize, man, that why they don't understand. Because people, like we talk about this all the time, people be screaming about people being leaders. You know what I'm saying? Lisa's sent me a video with the chick Lex from Poor Minds talking about, now she was using it metaphorically, talking about the nigga crying about he can't find nowhere to park, whole nigga get in the passenger seat, thinking that just finding somewhere and parking somewhere is leadership. This is why our people are in shambles now. You know what I'm saying? Because the things that you think, just parking anywhere or pulling up and dropping you off at the door of a restaurant where I go find somewhere to park has nothing to do with leadership whatsoever. Because when you're leading somebody, you're leading them for the purpose of galvanizing them to a common cause that everyone is working towards. You know what I'm talking about? And one of the parts of leadership is you want to make sure that you put your subordinates in a position where they can succeed. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want, your God is not going to put you in a position where he know you're not going to succeed. Because that's poor leadership. I know you're not good at putting up fences, so I'm going to have you be the fence guy. You know what I'm saying? When I know you better at plumbing. That's poor leadership. You know what I'm talking about? Like our people have leadership totally misconstrued because you think leadership pertains to things of no consequence. You know what I'm saying? Finding a parking spot has nothing to do with being a good leader. That really shows the aspect of that woman and what type of follower she actually would be. And the amount of women who agreed with such a juvenile way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to say the lady's dumb. It's just a juvenile way of thinking. When I say that, meaning that's a way of thinking of a group of people who don't understand the dichotomy of power dynamics. You know what I'm saying? to understand what leadership and effective leadership can lead to, because we think some of the most minuscule and juvenile and immature things equate to leadership, and it doesn't. Because a man could do all of that and be a piss poor leader. You know what I'm saying? He can still be a piss poor leader. But nevertheless, go ahead, sir.
Say, but they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil.
So Paul, and that's what we're talking about, and it leads you to destruction. So you have to be careful. Go ahead and read 4 and 3, Jeremiah one more time. I said 4 and 3.
For thus saith Yehud to the men of Yehuda and Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground, and sow not among thorns.
So not among the thorns, and do what?
Circumcise yourselves to Yehud.
And do what?
Take away the force in your heart.
And do what?
You men of Yehuda and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my fury come forth like fire, and burn that none can quench it.
Now,
the evil of
I want you to give them the definition of take away the foreskins. You know what I'm saying? And what that entails. Because now he's telling you to circumcise yourself to Yehud. You can give them circumcise, take away, and then foreskins. Now he's telling you the foreskins of your heart. Now you know your law say circumcise your hearts and be no more stiff-necked. This goes into the stuff that's written in Colossians, where Paul say that you get the circumcision without hands, putting off the body of sin, which is why people get misconstrued when they read what this man talking about circumcision. Because he's not telling people not to get circumcised, but what he's telling you is, what good is this circumcision if your heart is uncircumcised? You might as well have been uncircumcised in your penis. Because though your penis is uncircumcised, it's circumcised, you're not in covenant with Yahuwah because you don't believe and you don't obey and you don't do X, Y, Z. So what good was that showing your flesh when your heart's not right? That's it. That's the whole point that he was making. Like I told you when I was talking to Buddy, and Buddy going in about Paul say don't keep the law. No, that's not what that man said. That's not what that man said. That's how I know he don't know the word well enough to make that assumption. He said the law is bad. It's death unto him. It is, dummy. It is when you break it. That's common sense. And the thing is that this is where stuff get misconstrued at. You did. You see Paul writing a letter, and you forget that this is a real human being who's writing to real human beings. Now, he's a little bit more adept in the word than the people who he's writing to, but he's also communicating to them like a real person. And that's what's wrong with most of these niggas who deal with the word, is that they don't communicate like they're a real person. So they can't understand the aspect. And I'm going to get this Romans 7, man, this what he referenced to me that I'm mentioning to y'all, right? And y'all all know the statement. I'm going to read what you just put there in a second. He said, what shall I say then? This is verse 7 of Romans 7. Is the law sin? He said, God forbid. So he said, no, the law is not a transgression. The law is not an offense. The law is not criminal. He said, I would have not known sin but by the law, for I had not known lust except the law said, you shall not covet. So again, this is going back to how we've been able to ascertain that the law is symbolic of the tree of knowledge of good and evil represented the law. There are verses has Christians circumcised isn't required. I used to explain when I did. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go back and forth with nobody about circumcision. You know why? Because I would wager most of you grown men were circumcised anyway. And I can tell you that most of your parents didn't circumcise you because they were thinking about getting you into a covenant of Abraham. Because my mama didn't get me circumcised in July of 1980, thinking about no Genesis 17. I can tell you that right now. You know what I'm saying? That was just common practice. Now, you know, that's not a medical procedure that insurance companies will pay for. You getting your son circumcised. You know what I'm saying? They feel like that's unnecessary. You got to pay for that. And then you have to take extra steps if you actually want him to be circumcised on the 8th day, because they're not going to do that. You know what I'm talking about? They're going to circumcise him when they circumcise. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people feel like it's genetic mutilation. Let him get old enough to make his decision for himself. Man, anybody trying to hear all that. And you know what the sad part is? It's men who be screaming about this stuff. It's mainly white folks. Let's not get it twisted. But black folks done joined into this too, because my cousin was on that. You know what I'm saying? I tell you, my cousin's son was not circumcised. He got circumcised as a teen. Y'all have mercy on his soul because he was getting an infection in his foreskin. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you that because you have to be honest. Everybody's not motivated by the text when they make certain decisions. And I can guarantee you that most of you gentlemen who were circumcised, your parents didn't have no Bible on their mind when they did. Verse 8, but sin taken occasion by the commandment wrought in me all manner of conspicuous. For without the law, sin was dead. Just like with Adam in the garden, without the law, sin was dead. I was alive without the law. Adam was alive without the law. Once, but when the commandment came, sin revived and I died. And the commandment which was ordained to life, I found to be unto death. For sin taken occasion by the commandment deceived me, and by it slew me. That's exactly what happened to them in the garden, bro. That's all he's telling you. It's the sin that deceived him. And because the sin deceived him, and what does James tell you? Blessed is the man that endure temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive a crown of life. He said, let no man say when he's tempted, he tempted Elohim, because Elohim tipped no man with evil. But a man is tempted and enticed by his own lust. And when lust is conceived, it brings forth sin, and sin brings forth death. Do not err, my beloved brethren. Simple. The law will bring death when you break it. It's not death, but break it and you die. It's not hard to understand. It doesn't make the law lesser. It don't do nothing but tell you exactly what it is, and he telling you what time it is with him. Look here, man. I was good till I seen that. I wouldn't have known X, Y, Z till I seen the instruction. Then when I seen the instruction, I knew what desire was. Then I was alive without that instruction. But when that sin rose up and it lied to me and I did that there, now I'm dead. Simple. And you know what that is? He's giving you a real life. He's just keeping it a being with you. Because there's a lot of things you wouldn't have known till the information was came. You know what I'm saying? That's why what do people say when you know better, what you do? So that means you wouldn't have known X, Y, Z until the information came and now you know. But before you knew that, you was down bad. It's not that hard, bro. It's really not. You know what I'm saying? It's really not. We complicate these things. Well, I ain't gonna say we. In theological spaces, these things are complicated. You know what I'm saying? That's it. It's not that difficult, bro. And guess what? That's something that any real person done been in his word done dealt with. Because guess what? You know that the law is not sin, but you wouldn't have known what sin was till you learned the law. And then because you learned it, now sin, because you know the law, now you know what's wrong. Now that lust is stirred up in you. Because one thing about a person, man, if you tell them not to do something, now they want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Or if they know they can't do something, the desire to do it begins to strengthen because it's something that they want to do. So that's why he says, I was alive with the law, but when the commandment came, sin revived and I died. Because now how does sin revive? Because the desire that I had to do something wrong has now been brought back to life. And now this has deceived me. And now this instruction has come through and now it's done killed me because I disobeyed it. Simple. So he's trying to give you this dichotomy to understand, man, the ruach is willing, but the flesh is weak, so you can watch and pray, so you don't enter into temptation, so you can have the ability to resist the desires that are contrary to the word, because you can circumcise yourself unto Yahuwah and take away the foreskin from your heart by putting off the body of sin with the circumcision with our hands, man. Just like we were talking about this last night with the homie, man, like, man, you got to keep it a beam, man. People don't like, but you have to switch your desire, man. If you have a desire for God, the desire for sin will go away. I've told you that for years. You just can't have it not sin because you don't want to go to hell. You have to change the way that you think. If you have a desire for Yahuwah, there remains no desire for sin because you're seeking to please him. There's no room to please yourself because you're not concerned with that. You know what I'm saying? That's why he say they're more pleasers of God, pleasers of self than pleasers of God, that Paul wrote to Timothy. You know what I'm saying? That's why we always reference you have to serve him with a ready heart and a willing mind. When you have that willing mind or that kafats, that mind that delights and take pleasure in the things that he delight and take pleasure in, where will be the room for you to take pleasure in the things that you take pleasure in that are contrary to the will of God? Ain't no room. It ain't no room. And that's it. And you know how most of y'all already know this? Because you've had desires for things that were contrary to things that you used to do in your life. And when you found a new desire, that desire went away. You didn't participate in them behaviors no more. Simple and just like this here. Okay, you learn about fitness. Now you don't have a desire to eat the cookies and cakes and do this, that, there, and the third. Because you have a desire to train and eat clean because you want to build muscle and stay lean. Same difference. Your desire for fitness is what caused your desire for bad eating to go away. Okay, maybe you had a health scare. You used to smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol all the time. Your desire to live was greater than your desire to smoke cigarettes, so you stopped. See, everybody wanted to take that away from me. Nah, man, take the desire away by replacing that desire with desire to God, and it'll go away on its own. This man ain't finna do no magic trick to take no lust away from you, nigga. Change your desires. But you want somebody to snap a finger to take something away instead of sitting looking deep down and say, let me take pleasure in him than take pleasure in whatever's contrary to him. Because now you have to examine your heart and you don't want to do that. That's what even your problem is, man. That's why I told brother this last night, I've told you this plenty of times. That's why people rather argue doctrine all day. Because doctrine don't test your heart. Doctrine ain't going to challenge your heart for real. It's not going to expose to you who you are and who you aren't. That's why you can see people who deal with the word and cuss each other out like niggas in the street. You know what I'm saying? And think they justified in doing so. And swear that mean they godly. And in the same breath talking about they keep commandment. Get your goofy behind out here, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga, I was born that night, nigga. But not tonight. Last night, yesterday, or on the fortnight, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? You sound dumb. Come on, Savior, give him what circumcised is.
That is wool. That is to circumcise. To let oneself be circumcised. To cut.
To cut? Go ahead and give him takeaway.
And that is sword, to turn aside, to depart, to be removed.
So cut and remove that foreskin.
Foreskins is or live, foreskin.
Now give him Colossians, you dig? I think it's, give me 2 and 5, man. That's why the chick was talking about this last night. Dude say he keep the law, but he know the law don't justify him. And she was like, when you go to a restaurant, do you ask them if they cook such and such with the pork and washed it? No, get the hell out of here. You know what I'm saying? Let's get the hell out of here. You know what I'm talking about? I say, man, there's 2 ways you can handle that. You can ask no questions for conscience sake. Or if you ask questions and they tell you, you don't have to slide. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you don't have to eat out. You don't have to eat out. I don't know why people don't understand that. If you so concerned with that, then nigga, eat at the house. You don't have to eat out. You're choosing to eat out. But when you go out, you have to know these people cook all type of foods. Now, if you don't want to deal with that, then guess what you can do? Don't go somewhere that cooks shellfish and swine, nigga. And you ain't got to worry about it. Like I told you before, niggas looking like, man, we got to look at the ingredients on stuff. Okay, there's a cool, real quick fix for that. Stop eating processed food and you won't have to worry about it, pork in it, nigga. You know what I'm saying? But that ain't clicking. This is the crazy part. You worry about pork being in the ingredients versus all the unnatural stuff that's in it. That's what you worry about. I don't want to eat no pork, but you don't care about eating no yellow 5 or no red dye or none of that. You don't care about none of that as long as there ain't no pork in it. Come on, blood. If you got to go through all them ingredients on that, nigga, it's 25 ingredients. You can't pronounce 23 and a half of them. That's already a sign you shouldn't be eating that just for your health. Just for your health. And I told you this before. I went to the hospital, man. Like, nigga, when I read that, man, dude say, man, if it got more than 5 ingredients in it, nigga, you don't need to eat it anyway. And that's for real. Because once you start dealing with 5 ingredients, man, that's when you start dealing with artificial substances. You take this kombucha right here, right? What's in this hole? Water, kombucha, cane sugar, green tea, black tea, ginger juice, cranberry juice. I can pronounce that. And they said organic. You got this watermelon, coconut water. You know what's in here? Coconut water. Now I say that because you be like, but you got coconut water that got other stuff in it. You know what I'm saying? You got coconut water that got other stuff in it. Okay, this is orange and beet. What's in here? Orange juice and beet puree. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Now, why am I mentioning that? You ain't gonna never worry about eating no swine if you ain't eating nothing processed. You'll never have to worry about it. If you eating whole foods, you'll never have to worry about it. I'm saying that because you don't have to eat processed foods. You know what I'm saying? We make complaints about that because you still want to do X, Y, Z. You don't have to eat. Guess what? If you want cookies, you know what you can do? Make your own damn cookies, man. You don't have to buy cookies from them people. You can literally buy some dough and make your own cookies. That's right. If that coconut water got more than one ingredient, put that whole back on the shelf. You don't want that. You know what I'm talking about? Listen, man, you want baked goods and all. You can make your own stuff, man. And I say that, I ain't saying that to be funny, because that means you can control what's in it. And if you can control what's in it, then you don't have to worry about if X, Y, Z in it. I'm saying that because you're not helpless. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be held hostage to these people and feel like you have to buy X, Y, Z, or this, that, there, and the third. Okay, if you still want to eat them things, the power's in your own hand. You can just make it yourself. And that's it. And you ain't got to worry about it. And you will know what ingredients are in it. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no reason why grown people come crying about they put pork in everything. No, they don't. They put pork in things that are not real. When I say real, that are not real, it's not real food. That's what they put pork in. Pork ain't in real food, baby. I'm tell you that right now. They couldn't put pork in a stalk of corn if they wanted to. They couldn't put pork in no kale and no spinach crop. They can't put pork in none of that. Man, they can't put pork in no cow mane. They can't do that. It's not possible. What I mean is stop making life harder than what it is, man. Or just say I like to eat trash food and I want to find trash food that don't got pork in it. Just keep it real with yourself. Because I ain't mad at you if you like junk food. That's your business. You eat it. Shoot, eat it till your teeth fall out. Eat it till your belly's hanging over your belt. Eat it till your heart stop. I don't give a damn. Shoot, you like it. I love it. I know everybody like a good Oreo cookie. You know, Civic like cakes, pound cakes, yellow cakes, rice cakes. He look like he eat carrot cake from up north. You eat carrot cake, boy? What's up, no? What's up, Tor? What's happening? I appreciate you, bro.
You ain't lying. You
like carrot cake? I knew you like carrot cake, man. Nigga from up north, man. Till I go easy on carrot cake. I'm gonna easily throw it in the trash. Right where it belong at. Y'all sitting around here with Nisha eating candy corn. He got my baby in here eating candy corn. What kind of junk is that? If you don't celebrate Halloween, this is what you do. Them children never come to your house no more. You ain't got to cut the lights on and nothing like this here, man. Just put a bowl out there with nothing but candy corn in it. I bet them children don't come to your house no more. They're gonna egg your house. If I was a child, boy, I egg your house. You give me some candy corn. What kind of junk this is, nigga?
Reese's Cups.
You get something. Give me no damn candy corn, nigga. The hell I'm gonna do with this? But every year I got candy corn, boy. That junk went in the trash. You know what I'm talking about? Everyone loved candy corn. Lies. You know what I'm talking about? Lies. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all are the first people in my entire black life that I ever ran across who like candy corn. And I ain't even saying that to be funny. He said, not with the price of these eggs, they deserve it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never met no black people till I met some of y'all that like candy corn. Ever. You eat candy corn. Jimmy be eating that junk. I was like, nigga, what's wrong with you?
I don't like Skittles.
What? That nigga buy big bag. He be like, boy, stop by $50. That boy coming out with bags of candy corn. I'm like, nigga, your people ain't love you. What's going on? You know what I'm talking about? Man, go to Colossians 2:5. Y'all I'm playing. Say the only candy corn I have is earrings. I'm for real, man. Y'all throw me. You know what I'm saying? Candy corn and peanuts. That's what he be eating too. That's just what he be eating too, Ernest, man. Candy corn and some peanuts, man. I'm like, man, this nigga is crazy. I don't know. Combo, I wouldn't dare. I don't want that. That's almost like eating real licorice. Good, man. I'll put some licorice in my fragrance. See, they like Twizzlers, so they even it out. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. You say straight sugar wax, straight up to my sweet and salty. Ain't nothing sweet about a candy corn. I can't even describe that taste.
Okay.
It's a taste make you sad. You know what I'm saying? Colossians 2:5. It make you sad.
Say, for though I be absent in the flesh, yet am I with you in the Ruach, joy in beholding your order and the steadfastness of your faith in the Mashiach.
I seen big. I had some Twizzler gummies. They were fire. Go ahead.
Says, you have therefore received the Mashiach Yahushua the Lord, so walk you in him, rooted and built up and established in the faith as you have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Hamashiach.
What do you say after that, though?
For in him dwell all the fullness of the Elohim head bodily. You are complete in him.
Now listen, right? Because people go to war about that Godhead, but all they're just saying is that the divine power dwell in him. That's all that means. That's all it means. Tell them what Godhead by definition means. That's all that means, bro.
It is theotes, deity, divinity, the state of being Elohim.
The fullness of God is in him. That's it. He got the full measure of God in him, man. I tell you that in John, man. He don't get a spirit to him by measure. The fullness of God is in this man. Niggas make that conversation deeper than what it is. You know, the God, man ain't talking about all that. You made all that up, nigga. Go ahead.
Say, you are complete in him, which is the head of all principality and power, in whom also you are circumcised with the circumcision made without hands.
Made without what?
Made without hands. Putting off the body of the sins of the flesh by the circumcision of a Mashiach.
So when you look at when he tell you in Jeremiah 4, that circumcise yourself to Yahuwah and take away the foreskin of your hearts, man, he talking about that circumcision without hands, man. Put off that body of sin. That means whatever that desire is that's contrary to the word, man, take that off. What did we talk about a few weeks back? What Songs of Solomon 5:2 say? I've taken off my coat. How can I put it back on? He say, put you on Yahushua HaMashiach and make no provisions to fulfill the lust of the flesh. So take that off and put on God. It's very simple. But we can take it a step further. Zechariah 3:1, man, even though we lined that up with his resurrection, but let's take it a step further. Let's look at it, man. At the dichotomy between the flesh and the spirit. Jeremiah 3:1. Give me a second to lead into that ephod. But we'll see how that goes. But we still got to finish Proverbs 10. Come on with it, bud.
Then he showed me Yahushua the high priest standing before the Malachim of Yahuwah and Hashatan standing at his right hand to resist him.
Standing at his what?
At his right hand to resist him.
And what happened?
Yahuwah said unto Hashatan, Yahuwah rebuke you, O Hashatan, even Yahuwah that have chosen Jerusalem.
One thing y'all need to learn, man. Well, you need to rebuke a nigga who an adversary. Because that's all it say means an adversary. And if he's tell him what resist means by definition. Because what does an adversary come to do? Literally what he said, trying to resist.
Shaitan, to act to be or act as an adversary.
So that's what resist meaning, that to do what now?
We got to resist, to oppose, to accuse.
To oppose or accuse. So he say that the adversary is at the right hand resisting or accusing. And he said, I rebuke you, adversary. You understand? So you have to look at it as if you're dealing with somebody who's trying to stop you or accuse you, man, you might have to rebuke them niggas, man. Like, what is you on, man? What's wrong with you? I'm talking about a real accusation, man. Now, some accusation, man, let them niggas run their mouth. You got to have the wisdom to know when to, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what Saul also remember, because Satan is accuser of the brethren. You know what I'm talking about? That's what he told you. I sent my dog that video of that lady in the grocery store that was trying to witness to that white man. She went to cussing him out. Y'all ever seen that before? That white woman said, "MFer." She said, "I'm trying to help you out." He said, so he told her son, he said, you accuse her of the brethren. I said, y'all, that joke is hilarious. I didn't see it before. Man, that white woman was hilarious. When the dude stepped to her, she got so back so calm. Somebody else, and then she went right back to cussing him out. She said, "You accuse her of the brethren." But people who, all those people who had a spirit of the adversary in them, that's what they like to do. They like to accuse people. They like to accuse people because they looking to search and to find fault on you. And I told you this before, man, you got to be a miserable individual to be walking around trying to find fault in somebody. You know what I'm saying? And you got to be twice as miserable looking for sin. I don't even know how people, I've never understood how anybody had the energy to do such a thing. Like straight up and down. You know what I'm saying? Like when I first started, but kind of like maybe in that first 3-4 years, with some of the people who was around at that time, there's no disrespect to them. Like I told you before, like I ain't never been to church. So that thought process of, oh, the preacher know what everybody got going on, or everybody coming to tell the preacher what somebody doing, like I was unaccustomed to that. So when some of them coming to do that, I'm like, what are you telling me this for? You know what I'm saying? Like, did you say something to them? Like, nigga, I don't want to know that. But you thought I'm finna go step to them about that? Or when people slide the thought process of, oh, they talking about me. Because I didn't know, like, in reality, like, sometimes people leave assemblies and congregations, people talk bad about it. And I think people do that because a lot of congregations have the no contact orders. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Or you can't, like, we ain't doing, I don't care who you talk to. Nigga, y'all grown. You know what I'm saying? What I look like telling you, y'all can't talk to this person right here. And a room full of grown people. And you telling them who they can and can't talk to. Bro, I'm not doing all that, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's been a situation when people can tell you, I done told them, I don't fool with that nigga right there. If you still deal with him, that's your business. I don't fool with that nigga. You know what that means? That means if XYZ going on, don't bring that nigga around me. You know what I'm talking about? That's what that means. That means if, like how Pimp C put it on strap, he said, I told you, man, I don't mess with no K. Rule. He said, but you brought him to the studio, that was the cross. So if I told you I don't fool with somebody, and then you bring this individual into my personal space, I don't fool with you no more either, because I told you I don't fool with that nigga. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to take it you on what he on, because I already told you I don't fool with him. If you fool with him, that's your business. You fool with him over there. Don't bring him in my personal space. I don't fool with that nigga. You see how easy that is, man? Ain't got to be no beef or no pressure. But I see people don't do that. Because I promise to you leave from around here, I ain't got nothing to say about you because ain't nothing to say. You grown, you go where you want to. That's what they think, man. See, that nigga ain't with God no more. Maybe people do that. I don't do that. You do that, see? See, say, hell no, I don't give a damn. I got to go to work tomorrow. Go ahead, man. But no, seriously, it took me a while to really fully grasp and understand that, like, people really think like this because, unfortunately, this is the norm. At least it seems in general that this is what happens. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, man, well, nigga trying me, man. I ain't on that. You ever been to a church where people did that? Boop, you ever been to a church where any of y'all ever been to a church where people did that? Because you know, like Jehovah. Yeah. Like, you know how, like you know, if you do a certain stuff like with Jehovah's Witnesses, you know, you get excommunicated. Nobody can't fool with you no more. You know what I'm saying? But what I've heard, at least in Israelite assemblies, what people say is like, if you leave, they basically tell people you can't talk to this person no more. Yeah, that's cold behavior. It is cold behavior. I agree with that. No, I agree with that. That is cold behavior. Yeah, I feel like that necessarily at churches because it's not like cult, you know, culture. Yeah,
it's more inviting in the church.
Sister Regina said she had. Do you really have y'all seen churches where some people leave that some people talk bad about the individual who left? If it was a situation, I guess. I don't know. I don't have the experience.
I haven't seen it personally.
that with churches depend on how, because most churches have like, you know, a lot of people. And they're not necessarily like it's close or personal as Israelite camps.
I can see that. There's both people nobody might not notice.
Right. Or it's not going to be a big fallout, like, because you know, the Israelites that you are coming in like already judging you, and he ain't no friends, oh shit, like this,
right.
Like that. In church, you know, they ain't doing that.
That's why I'm asking, because I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Until like I said, it took me a little second to, okay, this is why they thinking this. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. To the point like, okay, I can't even be mad at them because I can see why they would think that. Because that's what everybody else doing, so you're going to do it too. But go ahead.
You go with Zechariah 3?
No, keep on going to Zechariah 3. What verse is it?
Verse 2.
Go ahead.
It said, Yahuwah said unto Hashatan, Yahuwah rebuke you, O Hashatan, even Yahuwah that have chosen Jerusalem rebuke you. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire? And Yahushua was clothed with filthy garments and stood before the Malachim. And he answered and spake unto those that stood before him, saying,
what did he say?
Take away the filthy garments from him. And unto him he said, Behold, I have caused your iniquity to pass from you. I will clothe you with change of raiment. And I said, Let them set a fair mitre upon his head.
Now, who the only person wear a mitre on his head?
High priest.
High priest, because this is Yahushua, son of Jehozadak, who was a high priest. But continue. I mentioned that for a reason, because you don't read David having a mitre on his head and other things like that. But I'll get into that. We may get it. Who knows? So let's just keep on.
So they set a fair mitre upon his head and clothed him with garments, and the Malachim of Yahuwah stood by. The Malachim of Yahuwah protested on the Yahushua, saying,
That's good. We came here because you see that they gave him a change of garment. Took the filthy garment off and put the clean garment on. You know what I'm saying? Which is to put off the filthiness of the flesh. To walk in the Ruach. That way, say we should not walk in the flesh, but walk in the Ruach. Get that for him, man. Galatians 5:13. That's the point that we make it. Or I've taken my coat off. How can I put it back on? You understand what I'm saying? There's a point of mentioning that. So we have to get to the point where you put that flesh off, or that circumcision without hands, where you put off the body of sin. So you're not going to get nowhere if you don't put that off. If you're still wearing that, then you're still going to deal with that, which is going back to don't sow amongst the thorns, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to tell you, man, desire can get you real quick because you're human. You know what I'm saying? Desire jump out real quick and like, gotcha, nigga. And you like to say, that ain't what you want. Go ahead.
So for brethren, you have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another.
One another,
the law is fulfilled in one word. In this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But if you bite and devour one another, take heed that you be not consumed one of another. This I say then, walk in the Ruach.
Walk in the who?
In the Ruach.
Walk in the who?
In the Ruach.
Why?
You shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
You won't fulfill the lust of the flesh if you walk in the spirit. This goes back to what we were talking about with serving him with a ready heart and a willing mind. Because if you walk it in the flesh, your heart will be set to fulfill the desires of Yahuwah and not the desires of yourself. So if you're seeking to serve him with the willing mind, then there's no room for you to fulfill the lust of the flesh. Read it again.
Say this I say then, walk in the Ruach, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
Why?
For the flesh lusts against the Ruach,
and the Ruach
against the flesh.
And these
are contrary the one to the other.
That you ought not.
So that you cannot do the things that you would.
Now that's what you have to understand. The flesh and the spirit are diametrically opposed to one another. So they can't meet in agreement. So you can't be like, I'm balanced, or you can't be, you either carnal or you're not. You either filled with the Ruach or you're not. Because if you around here dealing with that flesh, you're going to do the things that you ought not. And that's basically what Paul was trying to communicate in Romans 7. You know what I'm saying? Can't be in the same thing the Lord was communicating, which is why Jeremiah is telling you from the mouth of Yahuwah, hey man, circumcise yourself to Yahuwah and take away the foreskin of your heart. Walk in the Ruach and not in the flesh, and you won't fulfill the lust thereof. Stay in that flesh and you going to hell. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because you always going to do the things that are not pleasing to God. You're always going to do the things that's pleasing to your flesh. And that's a decision that each individual person has to make. I can't make that decision for you. I can't make you do that. I can't convince you to do that. You have to do that because that's what you have a desire to do. And that's what people get the game twisted when it comes to the word, man. You know, stuff comes down to your desire. Like what drives you. Let me get you this. When you look at desire in English by definition, this is a strong wish or want for something. And you have to think about that. How strong is your desire and want for something? And what is it that you have that strong and want and desire for? And the stronger your want and desire is for your God, the less your desire and want for sin will be. It's really no simpler than that. What is that? Timothy 3:1. Tell me what I say before we come back to Jeremiah 4. 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1.
Says this, know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankfully, unkadash, without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Allah.
And that's our point. Lovers of what?
Pleasures
more
than lovers of Allah.
What's the Greek word for pleasure, though?
Philodonos, that is loving pleasure, a lover of pleasure, fond of pleasure.
So let's look at pleasure in English, if you will.
You got voluptuous.
Well, you know what voluptuous means. That's what a lot of y'all like a voluptuous woman. You people going in by these dudes getting arrested for gambling. I don't know why people tripping on that. I don't know why anybody shocked. When it come down to money, man, that's what people gonna do. When you're dealing with pleasure, it's a feeling of happy satisfaction or enjoyment. So when it's pleasure, it's what are the things that you enjoy? What are the things that you enjoy? Do you enjoy pleasing God, or you enjoy whatever brings you pleasure? See, as I said that, like I mentioned that, they're like, clearly them boys enjoy making money. Because some people, like, they make millions of dollars. Some people don't look at it as they making millions of dollars. They're looking at it like, shoot, boy, that's an extra 25, 30, 40K I can make. I can do this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? Oh, boy, I'm going to tell you. Or they look at it, this is a way I can put money in my homeboy's pocket. You know what I'm saying? Then some people just be motivated by greed. Remember, he tell you that in Ecclesiastes, man, that, hey, man, you can get to a point where, you know, silver's not enough. Come on with Ecclesiastes, you can see where that's at. And some people don't realize that. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people look at stuff from their point of view. You know what I'm saying? Now, I said, if that's not your life, it ain't never going to be enough. You ain't going to never understand. Just like some people don't understand dudes who sleep with a bunch of women. Would I sleep with a bunch of women like some dudes do? I wouldn't personally. But I have my reasons for that. Like, shoot, man, every woman ain't really deserving to have access to me, just like a woman should think every man should have access to her. Some dudes feel like, well, I got some money, I'm finna hit all the hoes I can. And that's how they think. There it is. Ecclesiastes 5:10. Ecclesiastes 5:10. Listen to what it says.
He that loves silver shall not be satisfied with silver.
That's what he said, right? The love of money is the root of all evil, right? So you love money. He said, if you love silver, you won't be satisfied with it. Nor
he that love abundance with increase. This is also vanity.
So guess what? You'll never be satisfied if that's what you love. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you have to look at it, because he's giving you that insight. If you love money, you'll never be satisfied with money. So no matter how much money you got, you want some more. That man say, if you love abundance with increase, this is also vanity. It's for nothing. Now, outside looking in, people look like, this nigga stupid. Maybe he is, maybe he ain't. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Everybody seems stupid when they do crimes, when they get caught. You know what I'm saying? Because their motivation was money. Because look, at the end of the day, you got people who got way more money than Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and Damon Jones put together and pulled crimes. You know what I'm saying? You had Jeffrey Madoff doing all type of Ponzi schemes. That Jewish man wasn't broke, but his greed for money made him go do stuff he probably didn't have to do. And he probably could have made money legally. See, and he didn't. See, really why that junk really a big story, because this is not the first time somebody got caught doing stuff to manipulate a game for betting. You know, there was point shaving scandals in the 70s in college basketball. Because again, you know who you dealing with? Human beings. Yeah, one ref got arrested for it, Tim Donaghy, and he was talking about how the NBA do this, they do that. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you, I wouldn't bet money on a sporting event just because I'm not. But if this situation show you that you could, because guess what? With all these parlays and these prop bets and all this stuff they got going on, like, people be making real deal threats to these athletes about this. Man, you messed up my parlay and this, that, and the third. Because I've been done throat punch one of you niggas stepping to me talking about I messed up. Nigga, screw you and your parlay, ho nigga. Don't you never step to me like this, boy. But what's wrong with you, man? You know what I'm saying? But now that gambling has proliferated to the point where now you can gamble on your phone and you could do this and you could do that and you could gamble everywhere, man, this will come with it. Yeah, you're going to have some people be like, hey, man, shalom, Sister Kelly. Hey, I'm going to tell them boys I'm going to have a foot injury. I'm going to come out, take the under. You know what I'm saying? Man, y'all boys going to make 100 bands. You shoot your boy the dub. You know what I'm saying? That's what these dudes be on. I don't know why people shy. All it does is it just make it look bad. And that's what people don't. I keep people saying, why they keep showing the NBA players and not the Mafia members? Because the Mafia members ain't going to drive no clicks and views, nigga. You know what I'm saying? This wasn't the head of the Genovese crime family. This wasn't the head of the Gambino crime family. These are lower underlings. But it said the court filing showed that at the time of his arrest, Madoff and his wife declared their personal net worth to be $126 million, plus an estimated $700 million for his interest in the firm Bernie L. Madoff Investment Securities LLC. And he was that's my whole point. That man wasn't even poor. You got $126 million and you steal it. You ain't even gotta steal. And you stealing. That's why he say the love of money is the root of all evil, and he that loves silver won't be satisfied with it. Because no matter how much money he got, it's gonna be like, man. You say you think everything rigged? Look at it, right? I don't look at stuff as being rigged. I look at some things be manipulated for money. I told you this before. When you got billions of dollars involved, you'd be a fool to think that certain people are not going to be interested in certain outcomes. You know what I'm saying? There's too much money on the line. If you want to believe that these are fair, upright sporting events, I appreciate the fact that you live in a fantasy world. Because I'm going to tell you, it's not the whole league involved. It's not every player involved. And I mean, and with this stuff they referring to, this ain't even nothing real. For real, for real. Oh, I heard LeBron ain't playing. Bet on the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? That's inside information. That's something that you don't know that. So if you knew the Lakers was coming to play the Bucks, you might have put your money on it because you think LeBron gonna get off. But if you know 2-3 days ahead of time LeBron ain't playing, guess what you gonna do? That's called insider trading. People go to jail for Wall Street for it all the time because you have inside information. That's effectively what they saying Chauncey Billups did and what Damon Jones did. Because they say Chauncey Billups is named, unnamed as a co-conspirator, but you can look at the information and tell they probably talking about him. You know, probably they are talking about him. And they say, hey, he hit people up like, hey, man, we tanking. These dudes ain't playing such and such. Bet against us because you probably going to win. Because he knowing I'm not putting my best players out there. Now, he's not putting his best players out there because he's trying to rig the game. His owners have told him, nigga, we tanking the season because we want a better draft pick. We going to trade the best players up out of here. You know what I'm saying? And run these young boys out here. You're going to lose a lot of games. That's insider trading. Because before I do it, you don't know that. So if I'm telling you that ahead of time, you can make the bets in order to win. And guess what Legend Chauncey said? Shoot me some bread when you hit. Like, this ain't somebody throwing a game. You know what I'm saying? Now, y'all may not be familiar with the Black Sox scandal of 1919 and this white man by the name of Shoeless Joe Jackson, who was known as one of the greatest baseball players of all time. They threw a World Series. You know what I'm saying? Like, genuinely, they threw a World Series. Some people believe LeBron threw the Dallas Mavericks series. But you don't have no, that's just conjunction. Could he? Who knows? God knows. But I'm just mentioning that the text talk about that. Just because people got money don't mean they satisfied. You got people who get money and they cool. You know what I'm saying? They don't be like, I gotta have more, I gotta have more. Like, you have to look at yourself when you like, if you got what you want, but you still want more, or why are you so motivated for some money? Like, what's really driving that motivation? Is it just for the ability to accomplish something? Are you going to use the money to compensate for an insecurity? Are you using the money to fill a void? Do you believe the money will validate you in a particular fashion? What is your purpose of wanting this so badly? That's something you got to ask yourself if that's what you're motivated by. Some people are only motivated by money. Yeah, I want some money because, nigga, I don't want to be broke. But guess what? You can still want some money. You know what you end up being, Civic? Broke. You know what I'm talking about? Dang, I forgot to call bro back. God damn it. Go ahead, man.
We got what Ecclesiastes.
Yeah, we do Ecclesiastes. Oh, no, for sure. I ain't know how much he was worth specifically, Tori, but I definitely know he wasn't Pope. I knew he wasn't Pope. And you know one of the people he robbed? The dude who owned the New York Mets, which is why I think he had to sell the team because of the money he lost fooling with Bernie Madoff. Go ahead, man. Because I don't know if y'all familiar with Bobby Bonilla Day? You know about that?
Don't sound familiar.
Bobby Bonilla is a retired baseball player. Bobby Bonilla is known. He used to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, not the Steelers, but the Pittsburgh Pirates. You know what I'm saying? Played with Barry Bonds. Bobby Bonilla, black dude, Dominican, hell of a ball player. You know what I'm saying? Played with the Yankees. But he signed a contract with the Mets for some decent bread. But the owner of the Mets at the time a lot of people had this misconstrued by people who are extremely rich. That don't mean they got a lot of money laying around. You know what I'm saying? Like, people hear, oh, Jay-Z's a billionaire. Jay-Z probably don't have $2 billion sitting around. You know what I'm saying? So this man wanted to have cash flow available to invest with Bernie Madoff. So he agreed to give Bobby Bonilla a deferred contract. So what that means is, if the contract for $50 million, I'm gonna pay you $10 million and I'll pay you the $40 million over installments 10, 15 years from now. So Bobby Bonilla on the 1st of July gets a check, and it's known, and people then in them circles, talk about Bobby Bonilla Day. They did the same thing with Shohei Ohtani. He signed a 10-year, $700 million contract, but $680 million of it is deferred. So he gets paid $2 million a year. So when he retires, or whatever the case may be, that's when he'll get the checks from the $680 million. And they actually said that the Dodgers made back the $700 million that they would have paid him last year. You know what I'm saying? Because they won a championship last year. They're in the World Series tonight. I don't know what they're going on with that, but yeah. They said they made the $700 million back last year. You know what I'm saying? So, and they ain't even, and the thing is I can't even say they made the $700 million back because they ain't paid him yet, because they paid him $4 million. You know what I'm saying? So they can take that $700 million and say, "Woo, we can set this over here," Because we got your money now. Everything else is just profit. Say Bernie Madoff was making bread before the Ponzi scheme, but made no sense. Bro had been making close to $60 million a year. Come on, man. I ain't stealing nothing from nobody with $60 million a year, man. For what? For why? Listen, bro. I could live off $10 million for the whole year and set aside 50. Yeah, I seen that, and I seen that somebody convinced him to get deferred payments AI with Reebok, because that's a good way to do it, man. One thing that people don't be realizing about sports people, they wonder why they go broke, because a lot of them, when you young, you getting money like that, it don't click in your brain that you're not going to be doing this for the rest of your life, and that money gonna stop one day. You know what I'm saying? See, Shohei good. I'm gonna get $680 million. I ain't got to do nothing if I don't want to. I got $680 million coming to me for the rest of my... Man, I ain't going to live long enough to get that money, man. You know what I'm talking about? Go ahead, man. Man, that money gets you in trouble.
About Jeremiah?
Yes, sir.
In verse 5.
You can read 4 again, though.
Circumcise yourselves to Yahuwah and take away the foreskins of your heart, you men of Yehuda and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my fury come forth like fire and burn that none can quench.
What do you want you to
because
declare?
of the evil of your doings.
Declare.
You and Yehuda.
Publish.
In Jerusalem.
And blow you what?
The trumpet in the land.
Gather what?
Together and say, assemble yourselves. Let us go into the defense cities.
Set up what?
The standard towards Zion.
And what?
Retire, stay not.
For I will do what?
Bring evil from the north and a great destruction.
The lioness
come up from his thicket.
And the destroyer.
The Gentiles is on his way.
He is gone forth
from his place to make your land desolate.
And the city shall be what?
Laid waste.
Without what? Now you can see that in regards to the quote unquote destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD. Especially when we read the spots where the Lord cried over the city because the time of your visitation has come. Now, of course, this particular passage is referring to the destruction that came with Babylon. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, you got both of them because he tore it up. Especially when you look at Ezekiel, because Ezekiel's referencing Jerusalem getting destroyed, and Jerusalem had already been destroyed because he was in Babylon in captivity. But let's continue. Verse 8.
For this gird you with sackcloth, lament, and howl, for the fierce anger of Yahuwah is not turned back.
And it shall come to pass.
At that day, saith Yahuwah,
the heart of the king shall what?
Perish.
And the heart of the princes.
And the priests shall be astonished.
And the prophets
shall wonder.
Then said I,
Yahuwah Elohim,
surely
you have greatly deceived this people in Jerusalem.
And what you say? By saying what?
You shall have shalom.
When the what?
Sword reach unto
Which
the
is
soul.
why Paul wrote that on the back end. If somebody's screaming peace, man, it ain't no peace. Swift destruction gonna come. Because he said, you greatly deceive this people, saying you shall have peace. You ain't finna have no peace and you out of pocket like this. Remember, Isaiah told you ain't no peace for the wicked. You know what I'm saying? Like I seen a dude, I told you, man, with the podcast, man, he talking about, because the people get upset about the African spiritual stuff when people who in the word say, oh, that's witchcraft. And this is the part that I don't like. People saying that Psalms is witchcraft. Man, that ain't no witchcraft, man. You know what I'm saying? Or saying they did this or did that. Then people ain't do any of those things. But if you see it as witchcraft, more power to you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't finna argue with you about it. The reason why I say that because you will say you don't have to do witchcraft because you got me. Now, if you perceive that what you doing through Yahuwah is witchcraft, then that's your business. That's your business. I'm not finna fight with you about it. He say numbers is numerology or gematria too. Now, see, that gematria stuff is not witchcraft per se. That's a nigga who got too much time on his hands. You know what I'm saying? Because these niggas be swearing, running every number about everything, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, you have gematria and numerology and Kabbalah mystic systems, but it's not like what you see most of these people be talking about. You know what I'm saying? That numerology you'll see on the mainstream, that's a more watered down junk just to get you to give your money and invest your time and energy in something no consequence. Gematria is a nigga who watched too many doggone conspiracy theory videos and think he know about these people, mystery school systems and rituals and all that there, and nigga be wrong every damn time. But I will tell you this, you know what I'm saying? Outside of the gematria thing, These people do things by numbers, but it's according to the dates that are important to the deities that they worship. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I remember I told my sister, man, Nail, man, when we was living off university, man, you know, Whispering Palms way. So this was when the first Super Bowl? No, I know the Patriots were playing the Giants in the Super Bowl. I can't remember. You know what I'm saying? It was 2012. Super Bowl and whoever played in Super Bowl 2012. I think it was the Patriots and the Giants. It was 2012. You know what I'm saying? So around that time I told her, I say, hey, don't be surprised if somebody well-known come up dead. Let me look at what year Junior Seau died. And it was Junior Seau. And I said it's not because, I forgot what holiday had popped up for these people. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, when you know that the gods that these people worship, their gods require blood. And you should never be shocked when somebody of note come up dead. So yeah, that was 2012. So this was on May Day. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know about May Day is one of the highest days on the satanic calendar. Let me see what Super Bowl that was in 2012. Yeah, so it was the Patriots and the Giants that day. So let me give y'all the definition of gematria that she mentioned, just in case you don't know about that. So gematria is the finding of value in a word or a phrase. So in numerology, is the practice of assigning numerical value to a name, word, or phrase by reading its number, or sometimes by using an alphanumeric cipher. The letters of the alphabets involved have standard numerical values, but a word can yield several values. So it's to find hidden meanings in religious and mystical texts. Like I said, and it's primarily used in the Kabbalah, because that's where I first learned about it before I ever heard before I ever heard of these YouTube conspiracy theories. Hold on, man. You know, I don't have the same cognitive function that I used to. So this is what it's actually called. It's not called May Day per se. It's called Beltane. I forgot about that. And that's the beginning of the pagan Celtic year and the modern witches calendar, or the beginning of summer. So that is one of the highest days on their calendar. You know what I'm saying? And a sacrifice is required. You know what I'm saying? And that has nothing to do with the stuff you see in the videos. This is just understanding that these people worship these gods, and this is what their God requires. And whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter, because they do. I've been telling you that for years. It doesn't matter. So I used to watch Children of Israel out here. He was saying he's King David by the number. Yeah, they nigga crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's all these people want to do. That junk flying back around again, talking about Gucci Mane clone. I don't know why you niggas think these people. What are they cloning this nigga for? Somebody say, how can you go to prison short and fat? This nigga was tall when he went. You couldn't tell how tall it was. Nigga fat and out of shape. You didn't realize you're on drugs, you fat and out of shape, you got bad posture. You can't even tell this nigga 6'4" because he walks hunched over. But he ain't go to jail. Shoot, I can tell you. Like I told you, my dog was like, man, you ain't no 5'10", you about 6 feet. I said the only reason why he say that is because they've been working out so long, you got better posture. So you stand up straight. You know what I'm saying? You'll always look taller if you got better posture because you're standing up straight. Your shoulders back. You know what I'm saying? Most people walk around slouched over because you sit slouched. You know what I'm saying? Especially depending on what you do for a living. So your posture's bad. So you don't walk with your back, your shoulders back, and your chest out. So you walking slouched over, that junk shaved 2-3 inches off your height. You know what I'm saying? And depending on what you do, you know, the older you get short, you get smaller because your spine get compressed. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what you do. But Yeah, man, you'd be surprised how taller you look if you walk straight. A lot of people walk with their head down and your shoulders slouched in. You know what I'm saying? You around here thinking you 5'8", you might be 5'9 3/4 if you stood up straight. Go ahead, man. But that posture help with your back. A lot of niggas got bad backs and all that stuff because you don't sit up properly. And that John definitely do something to your spine. Go ahead.
Say, at that time shall it be said to this people and to Jerusalem, a dry wind of the high places in the wilderness toward the daughter of my people, not to fan nor to cleanse.
Not to fan or to cleanse. A fool what?
Wind from those places shall come unto me.
And now also
will I give sentence against him.
And behold,
he shall come up as clouds. His chariot shall be as a whirlwind.
His horses
swifter than eagles.
Woe unto us.
For we are spoiled.
O Jerusalem.
Wash your heart from wickedness.
That you may be what?
Saved.
How long
shall your vain thoughts lodge within you?
Now see, that's something that we all have to consider, man. You have to wash your heart, because how long is worthless and plans and plots, we talked about this verse not too long ago, gonna stay in your brain. Continue. For a voice.
Declare from Dan and publish affliction from Mount Ephraim.
Make your mention to the who?
To the nations.
Publish.
Against Jerusalem, that watchers come from a far country.
Give out their voice to what?
Against the cities of Yehuda.
As the keepers of the field.
Are they against her round about? Because she hath been rebellious against me, saith Yehuda.
The way.
And your doings have procured these things unto you. This is your wickedness, because it is bitter.
Reach into the what?
Unto your heart.
My bowels.
My bowels.
They pain at what?
At my very heart.
My heart make a noise in me.
I cannot hold my shalom.
Because you have heard.
Oh, my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war.
Pause and let's go look at what the Lord was crying, what that relate to. Let's Luke 19. That ain't it. Oh, that's why it ain't it, because that page is gone. I'm sorry. I be forgetting that this page is gone in this book. And that's one of them. Let me hit this shortcut. That ain't no shortcut, because that's that wasn't it. I can't pop up. Oh, my dog done open up a spot. Luke 19, like I said. You can pick it up at 40.
And he answered and said unto them, I tell you that if these should hold their shalom, the stones would immediately cry out. When he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it, saying, if you had known, even you at least, in this your day, the things which belong unto your shalom, but now they are hid from your eyes. For the day shall come upon you that your enemy shall cast a trench about you, and compass you round, and keep you in on every side. They shall lay you even with the ground, and your children within you. They shall not leave in one stone. They shall not leave in you one stone upon another, because you knew not the time of your visitation.
Not the time of your visitation.
And you went into the temple and began to cast out them that sold therein, and them that bought, saying unto them, it is written, my house is a house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves. And he taught daily in the temple, but the chief priests and scribes and the chief of the people sought to destroy him.
They didn't know the time of their visitation. Let's hit another one, right? I think it's in Matthew. (23). No, that ain't it. That ain't it. Ain't what I want. I can't remember what I said. With him weeping over the city. Because that's what I really want. Oh, no, you just read it. I'm sorry. I'm tripping. Well, you notice that he wept over the city. And what did that take us back to? Verse 19 of Jeremiah 4. What did he say? My bowels.
My bowels.
I am pained at my what?
Very hard.
And my heart do what?
Make a noise in me.
And I can't what?
Hold my shalom.
And that's why he spoke what he spoke. Because he's talking about Jerusalem being visited in this chapter. Continue.
Because you have heard, O my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war.
That's what he just told him. And what he said, destruction.
Upon destruction is cried, for the whole land is spoiled.
Suddenly.
Are my tents spoiled.
And my curtains.
In a moment.
Now see, now we could take a look at this here. And now you flash forward that and you see witness to his suffering. Because he made a noise, he couldn't hold his peace. My God, let this cup pass. Destructions upon destruction. His tents are spoiled. Tell him what tents is in verse 20. And curtains.
Tents is, oh hell, a tent.
Or his tabernacle, or his body.
And curtains is urea, a curtain, or a drape, a hanging.
And of course, his veil has been taken away. Like you read Solomon, the keepers of the wall have taken away my veil. But continue. Verse 21, Jeremiah 4.
How long shall I see the standard and hear the sound of the trumpet?
And he said, my people are what?
Foolish.
And they haven't what?
Known me.
Why?
They are sottish.
They have no what?
Understanding.
And they're what?
Wise to do evil.
But to do good.
They have no knowledge.
He said, and what he told them. When they look at my people, the foolish they had, he said, Kadah Abba, they have not known you. He said, if you would have known me, you would have known my Abba also. You know what I'm saying? He told these people that. But verse 23, I beheld.
There are rats, and lo, it was without form and void.
And the heavens.
They had no light.
Now listen, right? This taking you back to the beginning. I beheld the what?
The mountains.
And they what?
Trembled.
And the hills.
Moved lightly.
And beheld.
And lo, there was no man. And all the birds of Shamahim were fled.
I want you to remember verse 23. He said he looked at the earth and it was with confusion. You can give him void and without form again. And he said it had no light, which means it had no life in it.
Our form, that's to whom that is formlessness, confusion, unreality, emptiness.
Emptiness or confusion.
Place of chaos.
Place of disorder.
And void is who? Emptiness, void, waste.
Death. You understand? Wasn't no life there. That's why he say if you walk in the night, you stumble, you don't know where you're going because there's no life there. Elohim is light and no part darkness. Now that's what people get twisted worrying about the beginning and all this. We're not worried about it, but like it's dealing with the fact of he brought life from death. Because of course, if you looking at the earth, it couldn't be no life there. He ain't spoke the word yet. Right? Any word that come out the mouth of Yahuwah going to bring forth life and death, and it's going to bring forth life first and foremost. You know what I'm talking about? That's why, like, when people be like, they start this here, man, we look at it as for the witness. Of course, the date was starting in the beginning. It's peace yet to die, man, because it's showing forth how he brought life from death. And that brings forth the elements of the testimony. That Yahushua came into the earth as a light in the midst of darkness, showing you that he was going to bring life from death. That's how we see that as it lines up with the witness. Not because of doctrinal points or nothing out there in the third, everything line up with the witness. Like dude say, I don't believe in Jesus. Because people who don't believe in the Lord, they won't say his name. Or at least the Christian name. They're going to say JC. Some people are offended by that. I don't care. You know what I'm talking about? Now they do that because of Exodus 23 and 13. That not to make mention of other gods. But in Hebrew, it means something a tad bit different. It means you don't have them in remembrance. You know what I'm saying? And if you have them in remembrance, that means that you're not serving them. But nevertheless, let's continue. This is Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 25.
I beheld, and lo, there was no man, and all the birds of Shamahim were fled.
I beheld.
And lo, the fruitful place was a wilderness. All the cities thereof were broken down at the presence of Yahuwah and by his fierce anger.
And for thus
have Yahuwah said,
the whole land will be what?
Desolate.
But I won't make a what?
A full end.
For thus shall the earth
mourn,
and the heavens above
be black,
because I have
spoken it,
and I have
purposely,
and will not repent.
Neither will I turn back from it.
And you already know that they mourn for the man and he made it go dark. But let's continue. Verse 29, the whole city shall what?
Flee for the noise of the horsemen and bowmen, and they shall go into thickets.
And do what?
Climb up upon the rocks.
And what else?
Every city shall be forsaken, and not a man dwell therein.
He said, and when you're spoiled,
what will you do?
You make you that clothe yourself
with crimson
and deck yourself
ornaments of gold.
Though you rent your face with painting,
in vain shall you make yourself fair.
Your lovers will despise you.
They will seek your life.
Now, of course, you don't see the Lord putting renting his face with painting. You can tell it what painting is there if you want.
That
or
is
putting on.
That is antimony, stibium, or black paint.
So
or eye cosmetic.
You know what I'm saying? Some people look at that as just putting on makeup, but yeah, that's not makeup.
So we got fair colors, glycerin paint.
But regardless it is no matter how adorned you make yourself look, your lover's gonna hate you. And they gonna kill you. That's why it tells you in Isaiah that we saw no honor in him or no beauty in him that he should be desired. You know what I'm talking about? Now, of course, that don't mean he was ugly, but that's another conversation. For I've heard a voice
as of a woman in travail.
My Elohim, why have you forsaken me?
In the anguish of her.
That brought forth her what?
Her first child.
The voice of the daughter of Zion.
That bewail herself.
That do what?
Bewail herself.
And spread her hands.
Saying, woe is me now.
My soul is wearied.
Because of murder.
Because of who?
Because of murder.
Now this man's soul was wearied because of what? Murderers. And why were they murderers? Because they hated this man without a cause. And then he said, who can stand before envy? Because they know they brought him before envy, and that's why his soul was wearied. And then that just leads you to the aspect of dealing with the fact of why he was hung from a tree. Because that's what Buddy be like. This be the funny part to me, man. People who don't believe in the Lord always talking about it, and I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't believe in nothing Muhammad talking about. I'm not wasting my time and breath talking about a nigga I don't believe in and something I don't agree with. Because that's taken away from the time that you could be pushing what it is you believe in and what it is you agree with in order to minister that to another person for their benefit. If that's what you want for real. And that's what they say they own shit. Now, these niggas ain't on nothing but some lies and some folly. Niggas need to punch him in the throat. That's what they need. That's why I mentioned that to y'all about little Buddy when I was telling man, Buddy say he ain't been stopped believing in the Lord for 8-9 months. Man, you go somewhere. And I only say that because he's ardent about speaking against the man. So I say that because you didn't believe for real to have a stance to speak against him or for him, because you ain't know what you believe. And that's why I always tell y'all, you better make sure you know the testimony and why you believe in the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Because Buddy didn't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? Which tells, and this is no disrespect to him, because I had to get in the shower, so I couldn't. And then other people got on his dome about this here. You know what I'm saying? Mainly my homegirl, Zara. She had to tell him about herself. And she gave a good analogy from her own personal experience, but he didn't want to hear that. When you wasn't even solidified in what you believe and you put that down and jump to something else, man, you don't know what you talking about, bro. That's why we read the verses earlier about you got to make sure you built on the rock so you don't get tossed to and fro. Since I say that, man, get him Ephesians 4:9. And what I'm talking about is people who jump in theological spaces, ardent, ready to debate, ready to fight, ready to argue, but you don't even know what you believe for real. This is why I tell y'all, man, because of the years I spent studying and reading humanities, and then along with my personality on top of that, like once I got in the word, brother, I'm locked in on what I believe. So somebody giving a different point of view or different information to me, that's not going to throw me. You know what I'm saying? But if you not like that, man, you better not do that, boy. You better not do that. You say you told him he don't need to be worried about anyone else soul but his own at this junction. That's for real. Because and see, listen, right? I know in his position, he'll think somebody being funny or ridiculing him. But this was something like if I knew him personally, I would have told him the same thing. Blood, you can't look me in the face and tell me you was an atheist in 2019. And then you became a Mason. And then you became a Christian. And now you're Old Testament only. And you've done this in the span of 72 months. Now I'm going to tell you something. 72 months is a long time. 6 years is a long time. But when you're dealing with the acquiring of information, and you've been in 4 different schools of thought in 72 months, that's roughly divided 18 months in each. Man, you ain't an expert enough to speak to nobody about that. Let me not even say the atheist part. That's 3 schools of thought in 72 months. So that's roughly 2 years in each one. You ain't adept enough to be coming at people with anything because you think you believe something, but at the first wind of information, you went to something else. You know what I'm saying? That means you ain't locked in on what you want. You just doing stuff for the moment. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Read it for him.
Say now that he ascended, what is it but that he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth?
Mm-hmm.
He that descended is the same also that ascended up far above all, Shamahim, that he might fill all things.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave some apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, some pastors and teachers
Mm-hmm.
for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Amashiach.
Why?
Till we all come in the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of Elohim unto a perfect man.
What else?
To the measure of the stature of the fullness of Amashiach.
And why he said they doing this?
That we henceforth be no more children,
Tossed
to and fro
by every,
with every wind of doctrine,
by
and
what?
the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive.
That's why. Listen, that's good, right? Because now me knowing him saying that, I won't engage him in no. I'm not engaging him in no conversation, bro. You don't really know what you believe for real. And he said he believed God told him to become a Mason. So once you said that, I already know God ain't fooling with you because I know he didn't tell you to go to no fraternal order and take no oath to that fraternal order. I know he ain't tell you to do that. And you know how I know he ain't tell you to do that? Because I know his word well enough to know he didn't tell you to do that. See what I'm saying? So just like Cap told him, if God told you that, who to say you ain't being deceived right now? Because boy, God ain't tell you to go in no room with no bunch of men with no windows, bro. Y'all know how I feel about that, dumb man. I ain't trusting nothing. I ain't going nowhere with no men in no building with no windows, bro. And this ain't even on no, I think they finna do some old freaky deaky sexual activity. I know y'all finna do something you don't want, but you don't want no windows, bro. You don't want no natural light from God in here. Y'all don't want to come in here and pull back the curtains or nothing. Well, I don't want to come in here. And I ain't have to know no Bible, no nothing about nothing. But I know I ain't going in no room with nobody with no windows. No, nothing. You don't want, man, I'm not going nowhere with nobody in no room, no building with no windows, bro. I ain't trying to be funny. I'm dead serious about that. Because we grew up around Mason Halls, man. They all through our neighborhood, man. One of them, they done closed it down. You know what I'm saying? The one that was on Atlantic. And if you from Arlington, you know about the one that's around the service road off University Boulevard. Like, there ain't no windows in here, bro. Or the one by the library on University, bro. Ain't no windows in the building, man. Man, I'm not going in there. I don't want to know what y'all doing in there. I know it can't be nothing to God. Nigga, ain't no windows in here. Bro, you know how rare it is to see a building with no windows, bro? You just built a whole brick building with no windows. I'm good. You know what I'm talking about? I'm good. Like, yeah, I don't want to know what y'all doing in here. Like, straight up. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't think that's weird to see? Y'all might not. I'm only saying this because y'all not from Jacksonville, so y'all don't know. But this is a Masonic hub. You know what I'm saying? They be doing them burning sands rituals. They make them young college frats do. Man, they do all type of stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? Do all type of rituals in there. You know what I'm saying? But that's, yeah, that's just what it is. I can't tell you the one ritual I do remember. I told you this before. You can look it up for yourself. They got to go to the big Mason Hall in Washington, D.C. when they hit that 33rd degree so they can cross over to the east and become a Shriner. And them niggas got to spit on the cross. You ain't got to take my word for it. You can go on the Tetris's website. I bet it's a book in there about it. You can get on the internet and dig. And I ain't telling you what I seen in no YouTube video either. You know what I'm talking about? This is stuff it took me from age 15 to about 26 or 27 to be able to ascertain this information. You know what I'm saying? To attain this information, I should say. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's what you got to do. Because like I say, when you cross over to a shrine, you cross over to Islam. That's why you have the Islam symbols and all that stuff when you're dealing with Shriners, with the crescent moon and the sword and the fez and, the sphinx and all that other type of stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what that's about. But yeah, that's what you got to do. And if you want to look in more into that in greater detail, I can recall one book that I can tell you, Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike, a very known 33rd degree Freemason. You know what I'm saying? And he put a lot of what I'm talking about in his book. That book is long. Let me see if I can find it for y'all. Because I don't want y'all to think I'm making that up. I read Morals and Dogma myself. I don't remember much from it because it was a long time ago. Damn, this nigga hit a grand slam. Where on my ticket? Funky bastard. I picked when nobody would have hit a grand slam. This nigga hit a grand slam and a knife in it. Ain't that something?
It's on Amazon.
There it is right here. Morals and Dogma. You can get it. Ancient Rites of Freemasonry. You can get it from Target for $8.49. You can get it from Thrift Books for $9.63. This is the Morals and Dogma of the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. If you want a nice one, you can get it from Thrift Books for $40, but I wouldn't do it. I would try to get that as cheap as possible if you could. He said this serves as a philosophical guide to the 30 degrees of the Scottish Rite. It is a collection of essays that provide rationale for the degrees through lessons in comparative religion, history, and philosophy, and is considered a fundamental source book for the Rite's philosophy. It explores the themes of morals, ethics, and the struggle between good and evil using allegory and symbolism. It delves into the moral and metaphysical themes like justice, liberty, the nature of God, and the soul. It uses allegory and symbolism to explain the complex ideas of Masonic rituals without revealing secrets. It was originally published in 1871 and historically given to every Mason who completed the 14th degree in the southern jurisdiction of the U.S. Scottish Rite until 1964. It is 32 chapters long, and there's that. So that's something you want to look at. That's your business. You know what I'm saying? Considering, like I said, Jacksonville has a you ever seen that Mason? You seen that Mason Hall out of these? You see how big that building is? I think the only other Mason Hall, I'm gonna send it to you right now, Emma. I think the only other Mason Hall bigger than the one in Jacksonville might be the one in Washington, D.C. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a massive structure if you've ever seen it. And there is a multitude of Mason Halls all through this city. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we was real, when we were younger, being Fat Boy, like, we was real deal, like, boy, we want to know what type of time these people are on because we surrounded by it. And we knew something. And of course, they ain't telling us nothing. You know what I'm saying? And we want to know. So at this point, I think a lot of these religious houses, Freemasonry pastors, and leaders, fair counters. I mean, a lot of pastors are Masons. You know what I'm saying? A lot of older women in the church are Eastern Stars. You know what I'm saying? You're welcome. I mean, honestly, not a lot of that. Majority of it go back to Egypt. So that's what you're gonna find out. That most of the rituals and the things that they doing derive from practices that were done in Egypt. And we learned that pretty young. You know what I'm saying? Majority of everything. That's why they call it the Babylonian mystery school system, because it's going to go back to Babylon, and then you realize it's going back to Egypt, and so on and so forth. Because that's really what Masonry is. It's just another form of the Egyptian mystery school system. And that's let's keep it simple. That's really what it is. You know what I'm saying? And there's that. But I just shared that with you because that's the type. I'm telling you, man, we was different type of dudes when we was young, man. When I was young, man, it was some different type of time. Yeah, some niggas like to sit around and talk about the baddest chicks and this, that, there, and the third. Man, I was looking for certain information. You know what I'm saying? I was a different type of dude, and my homeboys was on that type of time too. Now they also dealt with some other stuff, regular stuff that we would do, that normal people would do. And Emma just, Emma got the book that they just came out with. I put that in the group chat. They just wrote a book called The Scar and the Shield, The Legacy of the Craftsman, along with the other book they wrote. Yes, ma'am, I'm going to put that in the group chat. I appreciate that. Lord Marshman wrote 2 books, actually. Well, let's continue. Now, again, those who hear that, that's not advocating for Freemasonry, but if you want to educate yourself, and if you don't, that's fine too. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at you if you be like, man, I don't want to learn about that. I ain't be mad at you. You know what I'm saying? But I did at that time. You talking about 1995 is when we started down that road. You know what I'm saying? I said, because we were surrounded by it. We had questions and we wanted answers. You know what I'm talking about? Straight like that. Go ahead.
We go with the Ephesians 4.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we good. And what's next? Let's come back to Proverbs 10. We get ready to get y'all out of here too. I just wanted to get Jeremiah 4 out of the way. I figured I could finish that better than mixing it with the Proverbs 10 because of the theme of Jeremiah 4 was going to be different than some of the verses here in Proverbs 10. You can pick it up in verse 17. This is Proverbs 10 and 17.
Say, he is in the way of life that keep instruction, but he that refuse reproof
Now, we talk about that, man. You would be in the way of life or in the Direct or the manner of life when you guard discipline. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we talk about that. There's no son that is a son without chastening. Let's continue. Verse 18. He that hide
hatred with lying
and
lips
he utter slander
is a fool.
And we know that's what the scribes and Pharisees did, and that's what Judas did. When he came up with the Hail Master, he hid his hatred with lying lips. And this is why he say that, you know what I'm saying, that Zechariah tell you this, which Paul spoke on in Ephesians 4, lie not one to another. Same thing he said in Colossians, and let's do this, put away a lying tongue. Because when you sit back and you look at that, man, hey, man, that hatred that you have for people, that's what leads you to slander somebody. That's what leads to the scandal mongering, the tale bearing. You know what I'm saying? And then you're going to end up uttering slander and you a fool. And that's simply what Satan does. And you know, he said, hey, fool ready for hellfire. You know what I'm talking about? We ain't trying to go out like that. Let's roll. And the multitude
of words there want not sin.
But he that refrain,
his lips is wise.
And that's why you see the Lord staying quiet in certain situations. Because that multitude are always talking, running your mouth, you're going to end up sinning with your words. Sometimes you need to know when to be quiet. Being in this particular medium, you know, clubhouse, that's something I've seen. A lot of these dudes don't know when to be quiet. That's why I say a man who can't bridle his tongue, his religion is vain. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't know when to be quiet, bro. You don't know when to know that you don't have to say nothing back. Like I would tell you when I was talking to that dude the other day, and I told him directly, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And you know what he wanted to do? Keep trying to talk to me. I say, what's wrong with you? Are you a homosexual? I wasn't saying that to be funny, because as a man, if another man tell me he don't want to talk to me, I'm not going to press him for a conversation, because to me that's some old feminine homo type stuff you got going on, because you're trying to get someone to converse with you who don't want to converse with you. That's the same way of trying to be around people who done told you they don't want you around. I don't want to be around nobody who don't want me around. If you don't want me around you, then screw you then. I'm gone. I'm not going to beg to be around you. I don't want to talk to you more. You know how some people like don't do some, well, you know, usually ladies do it, but some dudes do it too. Either way, it's immature and retarded. Don't talk to me, but you really want them to talk to you, and then you upset when they don't talk to you. Well, that's what you get, dummy. You should have been an adult. Don't tell somebody not to talk to you, then get mad because they don't. That's what you asked for. You seen that video where that dude was talking to the lady? He started drinking that water. Ain't no water in that bottle. When she was like, oh, I don't want to mess with you no more. He's like, oh, that's what you want? Then cool. Oh, you're not going to fight for me? What you mean? Baby, we in our 30s. Ain't nobody finna do that with you. If that's what you wanted, that's what you should have said. Oh, you're not going to apply no pressure? You apply pressure to wounds. You know what I'm talking about? You get a bullet wound, you get a tourniquet and apply pressure to it. I don't apply pressure to wrong people. Because if I'm applying pressure to you, baby, that means you bleed. And if you bleed, that means somebody hurt you. And if somebody hurts you, I'm not a doctor. I can't fix you. That's what you need to tell them. You apply pressure, you bleed. Because that's when you apply pressure. Like literally, metaphorically, literally, you apply pressure to wounds. So when you tell me that, you telling me you wounded. You know what I'm saying? Where you bleeding from, baby? From the neck? Because I can't save you if you're bleeding from there. You're going to bleed out. Go ahead, sis.
Say the tongue of the just is as choice silver. The heart of the wicked is a little worth.
What do you say now? The lips of the tongue of the just is what?
Choice silver.
The heart of the wicked
is little worth.
What's little worth mean? I want you to think about that. Some of these things we're going to revisit because he's talking about spitting that word.
This is mayat. That's littleness, few, a little, fewness, small, too little, like a little, within a little, hardly, shortly, little worth.
Little word. The inner man of the wicked ain't about nothing. But he said the tongue of the justice is choice silver. What's choice in that?
That is bakar, to choose, to elect, to decide. That's excellent.
Excellent silver. Now, why is that the case? Because he said, he refined you like what? Choice silver, right? And remember, he said, take away the dross from the silver. So there's perfection in the words of the just. That's why they like that. You understand? So you have to pay attention to that. But we're going to revisit that, Lord willing, tomorrow. The lips of the righteous do what, Silver?
Feed many.
But fools die
for want of wisdom.
Now, what did he tell Peter in John 21? Go feed my sheep, right? And then remember what Peter told all the other shepherds? Feed the flock. The same thing that Ezekiel 34 talking about. Feed the flock. The same thing you see in the Lord. The lips of the righteous feed many. That means that many is going to be robbed, or a great number of people. A great number of people can be subjective. You know what I'm talking about? But the lips of the righteous are going to feed people the word of God. We're going to revisit that and what that looks like, because it's almost 11 o'clock. I'm not finna enumerate all these things in detail just because we feel like we have to. No, we don't have to. Meaning that we don't have to jam everything into every situation. Feel like we just got to throw a whole bunch of info in every session. We don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Lord willing, we can spread it out. Go ahead.
The blessing of Yahuwah, it make rich.
And he add
no sorrow with it.
Now that's something that people have to look at, and we don't look at that also. That's why they say hope make the heart sick. But when the desire comes, it's as a tree of life. You know what I'm saying? When Yahuwah, the blessings of Yahuwah don't bring no sorrow. He said make rich. What make rich mean right here? Because see, people mean that individual in the prosperity situation may take that and use that to his advantage. And say, hey, if you give me, because I just seen a video where Juanita Bynum told 21 people, come bring me $1,066, and God gonna bless you. This for God to help him pay his bills. Like now, if a grown woman can look you in your face and say, if you give me $1,066 for God to pay his bill, baby, what bills he got? When he said all the earth is mine, the gold is mine, the silver is mine. What bill? Who he paying bills? If he paying bills, that means he answered to somebody. And people were simple enough to walk up there and get this woman $21,000. Well, if you add the 66 in there, $22,000, $21,000. You know what I'm saying? Either way it go, everybody's stupid. You know what I'm saying? Same way that pastor disrespected that lady by telling her you brought 1,235 up here, and it should have been 2,000. Now, if that was me, I say, you know what, you're right. And I'd have took my money. Make sure I put it nice and neat together. Prayerfully, I had a nice rubber band. I'd have put it in my hand and turned that whole sideways and slapped that nigga in the mouth with it. Like for real, because you know that's disrespectful. Walk up to somebody and slap somebody with some money. You know what I'm talking about? That's no respect. If you had money in your hand and you like, shut up, ho, wow, that's disrespect. I'd have slapped him in the mouth, man, and we ain't never coming back. And the sad part is that little boy watched his mama take that from that man. You know what I'm saying? See, when you sit back and look at that little boy did not have an opportunity to see a strong masculine influence in that situation when that man said that to his mama. That's no disrespect to his mama, because that's a lady. So it's only so, and when I say that's a lady, because she conducted herself like a lady in the midst of his blatant and pattern disrespect. Because she could have spazzed out, but she didn't. You know what I'm saying? And some people may look at her funny because she didn't. I don't look at her funny like she didn't. I look at her as a woman who maintained her class and decorum in a situation where she didn't have to. Now, that's not to say that she might have not wanted to do nothing to him. You know what I'm saying? But I respect the fact that she didn't act a fool in a situation where I would have totally understood if she did. But what I would have preferred to see personally for the little boy is that his daddy would have been standing right there and told that man about himself. So his son can know, son, you don't never let nobody disrespect you like that. You don't let nobody disrespect your mama like that. You know what I'm saying? Because that woman worked hard for that, and she believed that it was her duty to give this to the ministry. That's disrespect to that woman. You know what I'm saying? And Jit too young to know that, to much less stand up and check this man about disrespecting my mama. You know what I'm saying? And when I say to check this man, because he could have checked him respectfully. I ain't talking about spazzing out. The first thing was like, sir, you ain't had to talk to my mama like that. That was totally unnecessary and improper. So you mean to tell me that God looking at us crazy because we don't have another $665? That's what you telling me, sir? Because we brought $1,200 and $735, excuse me. We brought up $1,235, $765, and we brought $1,235, and you wanted $2,000. So you telling me you feel the right that you could disrespect me over $765, sir? And you want me to believe that God has sent you and you are a representative of him? Sir, I perceive that you are in the midst of bitterness and gall is within you, and the truth is far from you, sir. See, it's one thing that a little boy needs to see. You know what I'm saying? Not one thing, it's a multitude of things. But one thing that he should see is his daddy standing up in a masculine fashion, not allowing some douchebag to disrespect his mom. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to get violent. You don't have to get disrespectful. You don't have to do any of that. But you're not finna disrespect my mom. You're not finna disrespect my wife like that. But this is why in these churches that they hope that these women don't be married. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, because I keep seeing on threads women saying why men don't go to church. That's why. It's part of the reason why. Because they cater these services to women because they know women are going to be more inclined to give over their hard-earned money, thinking that they're doing the right thing towards God. Stronger men aren't going to go for that. A strong man ain't going for what his name is, whatever wine is. He's not going for that. He's not going for that. And it's a literal example of what we read earlier in Luke when he said, you have turned my father's house into a den of thieves or a house of merchandise because you're making merchandise of the people. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're doing. You have to recognize that you ain't got to spaz out. This ain't to slide the church. This ain't about the church. That's about that nigga. That's about why I need a bind. You know what I'm saying? The foulness that they got going on. I'm not indicting the church as an entire institution. But them two people were sour for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how little boys end up growing up to be weak men or overly emotional men that throw on capes. Say a lot of women who desire marriage in the faith are being discouraged by other women telling marriage is an idol. Yeah, that's that stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? That they be spitting in the church. I mean, marriage ain't no idol. Unless you worship in the idea of being married and not actually being a wife to a man that you love. You know what I'm saying? Because then you stupid. You know what I'm talking about? But it's quite natural for a woman to want a husband and a man to want a wife. I mean, you're a human being. Of course you're going to want that. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? It's when you come into the word and that's your only concern. It's getting a spouse. I mean, you ain't focused on God and stuff ain't going to go right anyway. You know what I'm saying? But come on.
Rich is a shard, to be or become rich or wealthy, to enrich.
To enrich. And what does he say what it is, man? The blessings of Yahuwah enrich. And that enrichment is not necessarily referring to monetary remuneration. Because remember, he told you if you think gain is godliness, you are of a perverse and a corrupt mind. We read that earlier. We talked about that earlier. So you have to keep that in mind. But continue, sir. Proverbs 10. What verse is it?
23.
Proverbs 10 and 23.
It is a sport to a fool to do mischief, but a man of understanding have wisdom.
It's a sport to a fool to do what?
Mischief.
Tell them what sport means, man. We'll tie that in. This is going to be dealing with the scribes and Pharisees in the Proverbs 6 with the just man falling 7 times and all that.
Sakok, that is laughter, a laughing stock, mocking, derision.
Mocking and derision. So, that's what they did to him on the stake. They mocked him. So they want to do that mischief, which is feet swift to run into mischief. And he said, but a man of understanding have what?
Have wisdom.
Let's continue. The fear of the wicked,
it shall come upon him.
But the desire of the righteous
shall be granted.
And Abba, into your hands I commend my ruach. But let's continue. As the whirlwind
pass, so is the wicked no more.
But the righteous
is an everlasting foundation.
As vinegar to the teeth.
And as smoke to the eyes.
So is the sluggard
to them that send him.
And we can deal with that as it pertains to the parable of the talents. But keep on going. The fear of Yahuwah.
Prolonged days, but the years of the wicked shall be short.
The hope of the righteous
shall be gladness.
But the expectation of the wicked
shall perish.
The way of Yahuwah.
And strength to the upright, but destruction shall be to the workers of iniquity.
And the righteous shall never
be removed.
The wicked shall what?
Not inhabit the earth.
And the mouth of the just bring forth what?
Wisdom, but the our tongue shall be cut out.
And the lips of the righteous
know what is acceptable.
But the mouth of the wicked
speak froward.
Tell them what acceptable is right now. Shalom, Brother Margaret.
That's Rason. Pleasure, delight, favor, goodwill, acceptance.
The acceptable words of God are that which is pleasurable to God. So we'll tie into that. I'll get another chapter from somebody. And we'll link those in. I did want to talk to y'all about that ephod. Y'all know what an ephod is? Come to Exodus 28 about this ephod. Because this man kept talking about this ephod all day. And I don't really want to go into the ephod to take away from what we're already dealing with. But I do want to discuss it to an extent. Go to Exodus 28 and 1.
And take you unto you Aaron, your brother, and his sons with him from among the children of Yasharal, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar, Aaron's sons. You shall make Kadash garments for Aaron your brother, for esteem and for beauty. You shall speak unto all that are wise-hearted, whom I have filled with the ruach of wisdom, that he may make Aaron's garments to consecrate him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And these are the garments which they shall make: a breastplate and an ephod. And a robe, and a embroidered coat, a mitre, and a girdle. And they shall make Kadash garments for Aaron your brother and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office.
Tell them what an ephod is, man.
That is a priestly garment, shoulder cape or mantle, an outer garment.
This is a mantle or an outer garment. So like when you see like Elijah's mantle fell, no, it's a linen garment. So now I want you to go to the Judges chapter 8 and verse 24. And we're going to look at certain people who have ephods and who they are and what they were doing. You could make it 23 or 22 actually. Judges chapter 8 verse 22. Now this is about Gideon. I don't think it necessarily tells you what tribe Gideon is from. But let's continue.
You say, then the men of Yasharal said unto Gideon, rule you over us, both you and your son, and your son's sons also. Also, for you have delivered us from the hand of Midian. And Gideon said unto them, I will not rule over you, neither shall my son rule over you.
Paul, let me see what it said, what tribe his father is from. Now it says that Gideon was in Ophrah, which is a town in Benjamin, or a place in Manasseh located close to Shechem. So if my memory serves me correctly now, I believe that Gideon was from the tribe of Manasseh. Continue.
And Gideon said unto them, I would desire a request of you, that you would give me every man the earrings of his prey. So they had golden earrings, because they were Ishmaelites. They answered, we will willingly give them. And they spread a garment, and did cast therein every man the earrings of his prey. And the weight of the golden earrings that he requested was 1,700 shekels of gold, beside ornaments and collars and purple raiment that was on the kings of Midian, and beside the chains that were about the camels' necks. Gideon made an ephod thereof.
Gideon made a what?
An ephod thereof.
Now Gideon is making an ephod or outer garment. Gideon is from Manasseh. You know what I'm talking about? But see, him making this mantle is not the same as a priestly garment or a robe, because he's not performing priestly duties with this on. You understand? Now, this is just because I didn't get to hear. I heard it but didn't hear it. That the dude that kept saying that was getting challenged with that, and I think he did piss poor in his enumeration with that. I want you to go to Judges 17:1. Now, this is going to be a little different, because just because an ephod is mentioned does not mean that this is a priestly garment or someone operate. Just because somebody has that on doesn't mean that they're a priest. Because again, it's a mantle. We'll look at that in 2 Kings, where you see like Elijah with his mantle on. Go ahead. This is Judges chapter 17 and verse 1.
Saying, there was a man of Mount Ephraim whose name was Micah, and he said unto his mother, 1,100 shekels of silver that were taken from you, about which you cursed, spake of also in my ear, behold, the silver is with me. I took it. And his mother said, Baruch be you of Yahuwah, my son. And when he had restored the 1,100 shekels of silver to his mother said, I had wholly dedicated the silver unto Yahuwah from my hand for my son, to make a graven image and a molten image. Now therefore I will restore it unto you. Yet he restored the money unto his mother, and his mother took 200 shekels of silver, and gave them to the founder, who made thereof a graven image and a molten image, and they were in the house of Micah. And the man Micah had a house of gods and made an ephod. And
he made a what?
An ephod.
He had his own house of gods and made him a what?
Ephod. And teraphim, and consecrated one of his sons, who became his priest.
Consecrated one of his sons and became his priest. This man got on the ephod. He a priest, but he ain't a priest to Yahuwah. Now go to Judges chapter 18 and pick it up at verse 14, and look what happened with that.
Then answered the 5 men that went to spy out the land of Laish, and said unto their brethren, do you know that there's in these houses an ephod and teraphim and graven image and a molten image? Now therefore consider what you have to do. They turned theirward and came to the house of the young man the Levite, even unto the house of Micah, and saluted him. And the 600 men appointed with their weapons of war, which are of the children of Dan, stood by the entering of the gate. And the 5 men that went to spy out the land went up and came in there, and took the graven image and the ephod and the teraphim and the molten image. And the priest stood in the entering of the gate with the 600 men that were appointed with weapons of war. These went into Micah's house and fetched the carved image, the ephod and the teraphim and the molten image. Then said the priest unto them, what do you? He said unto him, hold your shalom, lay your hand upon your mouth, and go with us. Be to us a father and priest. It is better for you to be a priest unto the house of one man, or that you be a priest unto a tribe and a family in Yasharal. And the priest's heart was glad, and he took the ephod, the teraphim, and the graven.
Now he done took this ephod. Now this is an actual real Levite. You know what I'm saying? Now go to 1 Chronicles 15 and 24, and you'll see David with this ephod on. And we'll look at one other one in 2 Samuel 6 and 11 with David with the ephod on. And then we'll look at mantle. And you can see that they're about the same thing. I didn't read it, but Samuel is mentioned of having a mantle on, an ephod on. Also here in 1 Samuel 15:27, he's got this mantle. And it's miel. And that's meme, ayin, and lamad. It's a robe. It's a garment worn over a tunic by men of rank, but also a garment of the high priest. It is a robe. It's an outer garment, just like an ephod is a cloak that's worn over the shoulder. So we mentioned this here because the gentleman kept referencing that. Now, the point where I was going to get to this here is, and Lord willing, I tied in with this stuff in Proverbs 10 and whatever chapter that anybody else got, is that, this is the fine linen, clean and white, which is the righteousness of the saints. Most of these mantles and ephods were made out of fine linen. So it's representative of something else. It's also representative of David with the ephod on when you're dealing with the testimony deal. But the thing that I mentioned this for is when you see him with the ephod on, he is never performing the duties of the high priest like we read in Exodus 28. The ephod is not representative of the priest. It's representative when you are doing the duties of the high priest. Because Obviously, Gideon had an ephod. So I mean, this man made an ephod for a fake priest. But I mentioned Gideon because Gideon was not a priest of any shape, form, or fashion. He was a judge, a warrior for Israel, to be specific. You know what I'm saying? People go too far with stuff because they see stuff and they don't pause. And let's look at the nuance of what this means, what this looks like, what is it for? You know what I'm saying? What is this person doing when they have it on? Like when you look at Samuel, at least it said that he had the ephod on and he ministered in the house of Yahuwah. Matter of fact, let me get that for you. Where you at? What I told you to go, I said.
First Chronicles 15,
First Chronicles
24.
15 and 24. And then I told you 2 Samuel 6 and 12. I'm gonna read you this here, man. And where we at with it? 1 Samuel what? Look at this here real quick, man. 1 Samuel what, man? Let's see what's going on. Well, I just looked at it and then I forgot just that fast. Ain't that something? I don't want to know you're getting old. Because people be talking about, man, you 45, you ain't old, nigga. Life expectancy 7 years old. Boy, I'm 10 years past middle age. I don't know why niggas be acting like you finna live to be 150. Nigga, you finna die. That's how niggas be talking to them. You ain't old. Nigga, I got 20 years left. What you talking about? So this is 1 Samuel 2. And I ain't saying that to be funny or nothing. I'm just saying that because that's just life. 1 Samuel 2 and 18, right? It say, but Samuel ministered before Yahuwah a child girded with a linen ephod. Now ask yourself this question. Can a child be a high priest and serve in the temple, man? Because that's what I asked to do. Where you see David going behind the veil? Because that's what people like to neglect, that ephod in Exodus 28 is for the high priests who go behind the veil. And you only go behind the veil once a year. That's for atonement. Because before he got his head whacked off for being a doctrinal whore, so to speak, or doctrinal harlot, he was talking about atonement. He said he didn't like this passage in Hebrews 9. Now I'm going to read you this passage in Hebrews 9. Now I'm sharing this with y'all not to denigrate the man, but this is what I mean when people say stuff. Will you have the ability to have a proper discourse with them according to what it is that you know and understand? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are accustomed to talking to people who really don't have strong command of what it is that they believe. You know what I'm saying? See, people on this particular application take me for a joke because I don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? I don't really be talking for real because I will bust your whole dome open. You understand what I'm telling you? I'm talking about like I will take take a baseball bat straight to your cranium and split it open like a cantaloupe. You know what I'm saying? And not for no other reason than, man, find you somebody to play with because I don't bother nobody. Don't come at me with that. And it ends up happening like that because people will size you thinking that you don't know what you're talking about. And then they understand, they can see rather quickly, okay, he has command of what he's talking about. And they start to get disrespectful because they're not accustomed to that. And I'm not going to play them games with you. I'm not going to play them games with you. So I can either be disrespectful and part your cranium, or I can just cease from talking to you. So it's better for me to cease from talking to you. Because what benefit or profit are we going to get from splitting your cranium? None. You know what I'm saying? But I'll do it though. You know what I'm talking about? But nevertheless, this is Hebrews 9 and 20. Saying, this is the blood of the testament which Elohim have enjoined unto you. Moreover, he sprinkled with the blood both the tabernacle and all the vessels of the ministry, which again is taking you back to Exodus 24. And almost all things are by the law purged with blood, and without shedding blood is no remission. So we know, we come over here to Leviticus 17, right? And this is 17 and 11, and y'all all should know it. Where he says plainly, for the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I've given it to you upon the altar to make atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that make an atonement for the soul. It is the blood that make an atonement for the soul. This is what I mean by, and you dealing with somebody, because he mentioned this here in Leviticus 5, saying he has a problem with what Paul said about this. So when you go to Leviticus, well, they ascribe Hebrews to Paul, but that doesn't mean that Paul wrote that. When you look at Leviticus 5 and 6, He shall bring his trespass offering unto Yahuwah for his sin which he has sinned, a female from the flock, a lamb or a kid of goats for a sin offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his sin. If he be not able to bring a lamb, then he shall bring for his trespass which he committed 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons unto Yahuwah, one for a sin offering, the other for a burnt offering. And he shall bring unto them the priest, who shall offer that which is for the sin offering first, and wring off his head and from his neck, but he shall not divide it asunder. And he shall sprinkle the blood of the sin offering upon the side of the altar, and the rest of the blood shall be wrung out at the bottom of the altar. It is a sin offering. And if he shall offer the second a burnt offering according to the manner, the priest shall make an atonement for him for his sin which he have sinned, it shall be forgiven him. But if he be not able to bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons then he that sinned bring for his offering a 10th part of an ephod of fine flour for a sin offering. He shall put no oil upon it, neither shall he put any frankincense thereon, for it is a sin offering. Then he shall bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his handful of it and the memorial and burn it on the altar according to the offerings made by fire unto Yahuwah. It is a sin offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him as touching his sin that he has sinned in one of these, and it shall be forgiven him. And the remedy shall be the priest as a meat offering. So he took that as saying, see, you don't need blood to make an atonement. Now he got his head chopped off by something else. I didn't get the opportunity to tell him how stupid he was. I say, bro, you dudes don't know the mercy of their God because you so caught up in doctrine to prove a point. He told you what to bring him. He say, but guess what? If you ain't got that, then you can bring me this. And if you ain't got that, then you can bring me this. And you know what that is? Because I never asked you for any sacrifices or required these at your hand. And you know what else you know? Everybody ain't got it. So this is not the aspect, because he told you, because at that point it'd be a contradiction, because he said the blood is for the atonement of the soul. So I told him, like, yeah, you talking about he could be forgiven, but atonement is made on atonement on the day of Yom Kippur, Yom Kafar, whichever word you want to use. You understand? So the fine flour being brought is not because he don't want the blood for the atonement. It's because this person is poor, dummy. So he don't have 2 turtle doves. He doesn't have this goat. But I know he can have some fine flour not mixed with oil, and he can bring me that. And you know what? People have a hard time understanding that because they don't understand that your God don't need your stuff. And he's not going to put an undue burden on you in order to do something towards him. The same way that he was going back and forth with David and the shewbread, and people missed the point. The point was they were without. And it's better to be merciful. I got to keep the law. This holy bread. So I'm going to send you away hungry. This is how you know niggas don't know their God, bro. Go ahead, David. Say people think that of me because I don't debate anymore. I believe it, bro. I don't be, and I never did with that debate. I have conversations with people. I'm not finna debate with you, bro. I'm not finna debate with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? See, I like for you to think I'm stupid. You know what I'm saying? I enjoy it because that means you stupid. Because one thing I know, but you don't underestimate nobody. And you don't walk into nothing thinking you know more than somebody because that means you stupid. On a multitude of levels. Come on, Sid.
First Chronicles 15:24.
Yeah, if they raise their hand.
Saying Shebaniah and Jehoshaphat and Nathaniel and Amasa and Zechariah, Benaiah and Eleazar the priest did blow with the trumpets before the ark of Elohim. And Obed-Edom and Jehiah were doorkeepers for the ark. So David and the elders of the Asherah and the captains over thousands went to bring up the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah out of the house of Obed-Edom with joy. It came to pass when Elohim helped the Levites that bear the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah that they offered 7 bullocks and 7 rams. David was clothed with a robe of fine linen. And all the Levites that bear the ark and the singers and Kenaniah the master of the song with the singers, David also had upon him an ephod of linen.
Who had a man's wrong? 2 Samuel 6 and 12. We'll wrap it up from there. Yeah, Alligator man, if somebody raised their hand, we done brought people up before. People I know ain't gonna be acting no fool if they want to have a discourse. Some people be wanting to come up there to argue, and I know who that is, and I just ignore them.
It may be that Yahuwah will look on my affliction, and that Yahuwah will requite me good for his curse in this day. And as David and his men went away by Shimei, went along on the hillside over against him and cursed as he went and threw stones at him and cast dust. And the king and all the people that were with him came weary and refreshed themselves there. And Absalom and all the people of the men of Yasharal to Jerusalem, and Ahithophel with him. And it came to pass when Hushai the Archite, David's friend, was come unto Absalom, that Hushai said unto Absalom,
where you at?
2 Samuel 16.
No. It's just 6 and 12. That's what. 2 Samuel 6 and 12.
And it was told King David, saying, Yahuwah hath broke the house of Obed-Edom and all that pertained unto him because of the ark of Elohim. So David went and brought up the ark of Elohim from the house of Obed-Edom into the city of David with gladness. And it was so that when they that bear the ark of Yahuwah had gone 6 paces, he sacrificed oxen and fatlings. And David danced before Yahuwah with all his might, and David was girded with a linen ephod.
That's not performing priestly duties. So I'm going to read Exodus 28 one more time. You good, Sylvia. This is what it says. You shall take you Aaron and his brother and his sons with him from among the sons of Yasharal, that they may serve unto me in the priest's office. Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, Ithamar, Aaron's sons. So first and foremost, you have to be Aaron's sons to be able to do this. Now, of course, this is Kahan, Kaf, Hey, Noon. This is to act as a priest, a minister in the priest's office, to be or to become the priest, to play the priest, to minister or serve as a priest. This is to mediate in religious services, to officiate, also to put on your regalia or to do the office of, to execute or serve of. You shall make Kadash garments for Aaron your brother for glory and for beauty. And you shall speak unto all that are wise-hearted, whom I fill with the Ruach of Kokmah, that they may make Aaron's garments to consecrate him, that he may serve unto me in the priest's office. These are the garments which they make. So see, it's not just the ephod alone. It's the breastplate, it's the ephod, it's the robe, it's the broidered coat, it's the mitre, it's the girdle, it's all of them. You know what I'm saying? The ephod is of no consequence without the breastplate and without the mitre, because this is also the key component. These garments are not to be worn outside of the house. These garments were not garments that an individual could just walk around the land of Israel wearing. You understand? It's what people don't understand. And you have to know the law to know that. And I'm going to pull that verse up for you real quick. This is verse 37. You shall put I don't even want all that. This is a lot in. So this is verse 40. I have to go to Leviticus 16 for that. Aaron's sons shall make coats. You shall make them girdles and bonnets. You shall make them for glory and for beauty. You shall put them upon Aaron, and your brother and his sons with him shall anoint him and consecrate him and sanctify him, that they may minister unto me in the priest's office. You shall make them linen breeches to cover their nakedness from the loins even unto the thighs shall they reach. They shall be upon Aaron and upon his sons when they come in unto the tabernacle of the congregation. Let me read that again. They shall be upon Aaron and upon his sons when they come into the tabernacle of the congregation, or when they come near unto the altar to minister in the Kadash place, that they bear not iniquity and die. So I didn't need to go to that. I know Leviticus 16 say that. Do you see where it says that the only place where they're supposed to wear this at? You know what I'm saying? So that means if David is out there dancing with a linen ephod on, guess what that means? He ain't. He ain't no priest, because he can't have those outside of the tabernacle of witness, because that would be a transgression. Those were not made to walk around in the streets in. Let me read this right real quick. You know what I'm talking about? This is Leviticus 16 and 1. Yahuwah spake unto Moses after the death of the 2 sons of Aaron when they offered before Yahuwah and died. Yahuwah said unto Moses, speak unto Aaron your brother, that he come not at all times into the Kadash place. within the veil before the mercy seat, which is upon the ark, that he die not, for I will appear in the cloud upon the mercy seat. Thus shall Aaron come into the Kadash with a young bullock for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering, and he shall put on the Kadash linen coat. He shall have the linen breeches upon his flesh. He shall be girded with the linen girdle. With the linen mitre shall he be attired. These are the Kadash garments. Therefore he shall wash his flesh in water. So all them garments in Exodus 28, when he supposed to put them on the Day of Atonement. Or when because when else is he ministering in the altar in the Kadash? That's what Exodus 28 said, right? That's only on the Day of Atonement. So he puts these garments on how many times a year, Civic?
3.
Once.
Oh, you said atonement, yeah.
Once. Now hold on. Let me read you verse 23, the same Leviticus 16. And Aaron shall come into the tabernacle of the congregation and shall put off the linen garments which he put on when he went into the Kadash place, and shall leave them there. He shall wash his flesh with water in the Kadash place, and put on his garments, and come forth and offer his burnt offering and the burnt offering of the people, and make atonement for himself and for the people. So this is the key component. He comes into the temple with his clothes on, puts the Kadash garments on, then goes behind the veil. When he's done behind the veil, he takes those Kadash garments off and put his clothes back on. So when you see David out there with a linen ephod on, guess what? You know he ain't a priest, because he could not wear them outside the tabernacle. You know what I'm talking about? And this is why I be telling you, that's why you have to know your law, because when you know your law, you'll know that, and you know when you hear somebody say certain stuff, this nigga's an idiot. You know what I'm saying? But when I say an idiot, you don't even know the function of your God to know that no priest would be walking around in set apart garments in the street dancing. Not because there's nothing wrong with him dancing, but because he wouldn't be in the street with that, because he couldn't take it out the tabernacle. Because these are set apart garments only to be worn when the high priest specifically goes behind the veil. That's why I asked the gentleman, when he kept screaming that David was a priest, when did you see him go behind the veil? Because he should have known the law well enough, since he's screaming that God sent him, to know that the high priest would never wear the garments anywhere but behind the veil. This is why you have to know the word well enough so you can identify when you're talking to an idiot, so that you therefore know what to ask or to know not to engage. Because this man doesn't know the law. So why would I talk to a man about the law that he don't even know? Because you'll run to this law about, see, the ephod is for the priest, but not read the rest of the law where it tells you when, where, and why he puts it on. You know what I'm saying? And that's not information. And see, when I mention this here, that's not information you can battle with, because it's not supposed to be battled with. It's for you to understand the function of service. You understand? That's it. That's it. That's all it's supposed to be for. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew what to ask this man. Because I know that his statement is erroneous, because he don't know the law. That's why John 7:50 say they that don't know the law are cursed. Because you're going to, remember, to be cursed or to be damned is to bring judgment upon. So if you don't know the law, then yeah, God is going to damn you. He's going to bring judgment upon you. That judgment is going to be death, because you don't know. And when you don't know, guess what you don't do? You don't do what he wants you to do. You're going to do something afoul. Or as it says in Samuel, when the dude put his hand on the Ark of the Covenant, and David said, we didn't bring it up according to the due order, or order there, it translates to mishpat. We didn't do it according to the judgment of what he determined was right or wrong. And because we didn't, that cost somebody their life. So you have to pay attention to that. But hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. I appreciate y'all. Now you see, I wanted y'all to hear that, because it wasn't going to mesh with what we were talking about. You know what I'm saying? And I just wasn't going to throw something in there while we talking about one thing, just because I wanted to share that with you. Do that on the end. where it stand by itself. We can tie it into a bigger thing, because we can tie that into, we're a spiritual house and you've been made priests unto him. Shalom, man. And you know what I'm saying? Yahuwah, how now that you can put on, you're not putting on the garments per se to be the high priest, but now you can put on these set apart garments, aka the Ruach HaKodesh, and now you can go behind the veil, because the veil has been rent, and you can approach to the mercy seat directly, like it said in Hebrews 4, and you won't die because you got the Ruach on you. You know what I'm talking about? But nevertheless, I appreciate y'all, man. I bless y'all, the house of Elohim, in the name of Yahushua. I love y'all. Yahuwah willing, man. We'll be back at it on tomorrow. If it's some more things we can add with the ephod for the last part that I just mentioned about being able to go behind the veil, because the veil has been removed, and now you can approach to God because you covered in the Ruach HaKodesh that you die not. Then yeah, we can, because it never hurts to do that. I was going to mention it because he said something about they lied about Psalms 2 and 12, where it say kiss the sun. But sun is not been there, but it's bar, which is air. You know what I'm saying? Facts, alligator, facts. You know what I'm saying? And you looking at air, he telling you to kiss the air. Who's the air? David's not the heir to Yahuwah. David can't be the heir to Yahuwah because David is the son of Adam. It's only one heir to Yahuwah, and that was Adam. So the only person who could be his heir is he who is of God. That's why Luke ends with that. No, it's just one. It's just one set of garments, man, that I can recall. I don't believe so. Now you have that when you're dealing with the garment that the whore of Babylon got on. Peace, Brother Ernest. That's a whole nother conversation right there. You know what I'm talking about? Lord willing, we could deal with that tomorrow. Judges 8. Yeah, we read the Judges 8 and 27. That's what's Gideon making an ephod. But remember, ephod is just a linen cape. So an ephod in and of itself is not necessarily deception. It's just a cape. You know what I'm saying? Part of the outfit. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I say we could tie that into to Revelation 17 when you talk about the beast with the purple robe and the scarlet robe, because what that beast got on is mimicking the high priest's garments. You know what I'm talking about? So that would have all that attached. But yeah, it's 11:36, man. I appreciate y'all, man. I ain't gonna hold y'all no longer, man. Y'all keep on grinding and pushing and standing and going. You know what I mean? And let Yahuwah be esteemed in all things. And y'all willing, till tomorrow. Love you too, bro. Hold it down. Praise Yahuwah indeed.